Hello, everybody, and welcome to another, that's right, another, it keeps happening, episode of the HalfGen podcast. I really like that I don't have to remember numbers anymore, because that was always the hardest part. We don't do numbers anymore. Forget that. I don't even know how many episodes we have at this point. I thought about that the other day. I was like, how many do we even have now?
A number.
It's got to be a good number, though. Like, I imagine it's a solid number.
Yeah.
I should not have changed the desktop background on my screen, and I realize that now because I'm very bright and I'm very shiny right here, and I'm also very pale, so it doesn't show well on camera.
I was gonna say something, but I realized I've been making fun of my conspiracy theorist coworkers too much, and I was gonna, get them started essentially. But I realized you guys want to get the joke. I was about to hit you with the numbers are just a concept of man. All things just exist.
Oh shit!
I'm not proud of himself on that one. He did the 180 spin in his chair. He was so proud of himself after that one.
Trying to turn down.
I am Mr. Throw a Molotov and walk away, because I don't work in the on the floor. So I like walking in, dropping bombs, getting a shitty conversation started, and leaving.
That's fair.
You guys like my PlayStation Slurpee cup?
Mm-hmm.
So do our audio listeners.
I was trying to get it's the X.
It's the black cup with X's, circles, squares, and O's.
Big X. So it's funny, the 7-Eleven, because they were doing a thing where if you bought like all 4 cups, you can enter to win like a PS5 or something. I don't remember all the details. Ross got his, so my sister's the only person left that I know that like desperately needs and wants one right now. And so I'm like, okay, I'll try and get her one. And they had every cup except square. So I have 3 of the 4 PlayStation button cups, and I don't think that's a promotion that they are still running. And I don't know if I'll ever get square.
Nope, so those are just going to take up space.
I'm just trying to figure out how much that's going to bother me long term, you know?
Like, got to throw the whole set away.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. I still have Slurpee cups from like I don't buy glassware and stuff like that. Most of my stuff for that is like old Slurpee cups, because they wash well. So like, why not? I have cups from Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
Woof.
Yeah, that's like 12 years ago now. I have the good ones. I have an Optimus Prime and Bumblebee. No. I think I have a Megatron somewhere. I don't know. It's not important. What is important, though? Nat, we were talking before the show.
Yeah, I have a theory that you should always live by, which is, I don't know why you're looking into your hand and wiping your eyes. It's a very sound theory. Do you really live in your house if you can't take a shit butt naked?
My eye was a little damp because they're dry.
I don't know.
He's accusing me.
I wasn't accusing you.
I don't even know what I'm being accused of, but I feel accused. Ross, should I feel accused?
Is that really your home if you can't take a shit?
Thank you. All right, so here's the counter argument to that.
You might sleep in your house, but you don't live there.
No. The bathroom is a place of business. You go into the bathroom, you accomplish your business, and you leave. The bathroom is a workplace. You punch in, you punch out. You don't want to be in the bathroom outside of work hours.
I disagree.
They're not paying you overtime to be there.
I disagree. I get a lot of good thinking done in the bathroom. Sometimes I have to get a good cry in the shower in the bathroom. The bathroom heats really well. It's a good place to sit and let fog up, let the moisture soak into your skin and your hair, It's a nice place. I have a skin routine. I like to moisturize and stuff. It's like a couple step process. I got a hair routine.
See, you're talking about routines. That is work.
Yes, all after I took a shit butt naked. It all starts there.
I just love how if you're listening to the audio version, you're not going to see just how dead ass he is. And he's just like the confidence in his eyes.
If you're not,
it's almost enough to sway me, but I will not be swayed.
You don't actually live there, is all I'm saying. It's fine if you don't actually live in your house. I don't make the rules. I just follow them.
No. You will not convince me otherwise. The bathroom is a place of business. I don't want to be at work if I don't have to be at work.
Hey, man,
In fact, I try to take care of as much of my business as I can at work because then I'm getting paid to do it.
Just because a lot of people own cars don't mean they really know how to use them.
I mean, yeah. Have you ever seen people drive?
That's what I'm saying. Rule of the bathroom is if it's a private bathroom, you got to get butt naked to take a dump.
No, that is not a rule. That was not like a condition on the lease. They didn't sign. Oh, by the way, if you look at subparagraph G here, it actually says if you're not naked, you can't use the bathroom. And we'll know.
After an extensive night of dominoes, you know what I'm saying? That always pushes that button. Let's say it's a little wet. You use the bathroom. And now you need to take a shower. After you take your dump, now it's an easy 1-2. Let me hop in the shower. But if you're clothed, now you got to be like, okay, are these clothes? Like, are you just going to strip? I mean, my bathroom personally, I don't have like a hamper or anything in there. That space is taken up by products. So I have to make an active decision. Normally, when I go in the bathroom, I'm already comfortable. I'm in my loungewear.
I'm in my loungewear. You guys have your loungewear, nothing?
Your inside clothes. I mean, my loungewear right now is like some Uniqlo pants and a t-shirt, an old t-shirt I like, preferably from a band, or maybe just a plain t-shirt.
I got Destiny. Does that count?
I mean, maybe.
Okay.
This isn't loungewear. I just came from work. I still have jeans on. These are my outside clothes. I wouldn't lay in my bed in these. This is how you carry germs into your bed. You got to have outside clothes and inside clothes, you know? So like this office, once I step into my room over there, the clothes have to come off in that section. I have to put them away, hang them up. Because, you know, then you get loungewear.
You have like a decontamination chamber? Do they have to spray you down?
No, it's no decontamination. I'm not that anal about it. And I break the rule quite frequently. But I'm just saying, I feel like I live a better life when I don't bring my outside clothes in the bed.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I ride the subway every day. Maybe it's different for you guys. You're driving your car that's, you know, controlled environment. I can't really control what's on the subway.
Yeah, no heated seats on the subway.
I couldn't have picked it because I didn't have a choice. But I could have had a migraine this week instead of last week.
I'm just saying, Ross, you were with me until Chris showed up.
Well, yeah, because I made a compelling argument.
So I was never with you on getting completely naked in your house. I agree with it. I don't abide by it because I don't want to take off my shirt when I'm doing my business.
Nah, man. Yeah, I let it hang.
I don't want to take off my shirt. You know, when that seat's down, you don't know what's going on.
That's why you can't contaminate the shirt. You got to take the shirt off.
Why is Ross looking at me like that?
Throw it over the hook.
I can change I can change my shirt anytime I want. I don't want to have to shower every time I use the toilet.
If you get shit on your shirt, you got to throw it away.
What? Who's getting shit on their shirt?
That's the rule. That's the rules.
I'm talking about like bacteria and shit. I'm not talking about shit.
But I'm just saying, the shirt isn't really protecting you. You just got to hop in the shower.
Why would you throw it away, though? You can wash a shirt.
Not after there's shit on it. That you just got to throw it away.
Well, first off, that's your fault for getting shit on your shirt.
I never got shit on my shirt because I take shits butt naked.
But then you have it on your body.
I'll be right back.
I hop in the shower.
Ross, it's going to ruin it.
I left the mic by the computer. It's fine.
Okay. Okay.
He's going to go take a shit butt naked.
No, he's not. He is not going to do that.
He's going to go test it. He's
not doing that.
He's going to test it right now.
He won't do it.
Hey, man. You could disagree with me?
He just did something. I think he just had to explain to his wife, no, I swear, it's not what you think.
Luckily, my wife isn't here. I thought I had a pair of sunglasses in here so I could just put those on until the conversation was done and just take a quick nap.
Oh, and then
come back in.
Yeah, no. It's not that easy.
At least by me, I stand where I stand on this. You don't have to agree. That is my rules. For me,
it's on the wrong side of history here.
I am not on the wrong side of history.
Let us know.
I just want to say
your preferred method.
For the past 500 years, people with the amount of melanin as me have technically been on the right side of history. It's Black History Month. These jokes is all here. 4 weeks. 4 more weeks. Y'all fucked up now. Lucky I don't extend it to Black History Year.
He's like on his phone. He's tweeting, dabbing on them haters.
No, man, I'm tweeting. If you don't take a shit butt naked, do you really live there? That's what I'm tweeting.
Perfect.
That is the most Nat tweet I could actually expect. Okay. How's everybody doing after that now?
I just want to thank you. That was 10 minutes gone.
That was 10 minutes.
Yes, it was.
Jesus.
It was. It's 10 minutes of my life.
That was well spent. It's these times with friends that you recount on.
Oh, Jesus.
In the Rolodex of history, when you go to the great beyond and frolic, these are the highlights that you see.
In the Rolodex of history.
In your personal history, in the great beyond.
Why can't my history be the history? Ross, is that a bottle of like Red Hot next year, like Tabasco or something? Or no, is that Nat? That's Nat.
That's Sriracha.
The way I have the window set up is it was cut off in a weird way that I thought it was on your screen and it wasn't.
No, my man's got the best condiment ever. I put Sriracha on everything.
It's my bad for calling that out.
On
wrong.
Pizza? It's clutch.
That's why you have to take shits naked.
No. Hot sauce does not. It's the lactose that'll give me the shits. Hot sauce, not it. I've grown up eating hot sauce. This hot sauce, that's not the shit intensifier. Doesn't give me a shit multiplier.
I put my name on this website.
If that wasn't such an awful title, the shit multiplier would be the title of this episode. But I can't in good conscience do that.
Yo, you guys gotta understand. Is this the content that has my other podcast starving? I can take this to the other place. I'll give you this for free, baby.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
You don't. You just kind of hope it goes away.
Just gonna keep drinking.
That's not water, folks. That's vodka. Drowning his sorrow away. I don't know about everybody else, but I played some games this week.
I have as well.
Okay.
Played 3 games.
I want to talk about a couple things to start. Okay.
Go for it.
I played Destruction All-Stars.
I did. I've put a decent amount of time into Destruction All-Stars.
Okay. Have you gone back to it since you played it the first time?
Yes.
I don't think I want to do that.
I figured.
Here's my thing. There's nothing wrong with the game, per se. Mm-hmm. It is... I feel like it handles really well. Like, the act of playing the game mostly feels fine. My 3 major gripes with the game are sometimes it doesn't feel like there's enough people to fill a whole arena. And that varies from map to map, but sometimes I'm on a half of the arena and it's like everybody else is on the other half, or everybody else is like out of their car and I can't find anybody to hit with my car. And I'm just like, boy, this like 15 seconds of this gameplay really sucks. And then people start getting back into cars and it's fine. But that's not, I don't notice when the people are in their cars. I notice when I can't find a car to hit. And that part to me is frustrating because I'm like, that's the thing I want to do. And I also have problems with like, I don't think the game gives you enough feedback of like, hey, there's some dude right behind you that you're not going to know until he's already run you over. Like they've got like a little arrow behind you, but in the heat of the moment, you don't really notice. And then all of a sudden I'm getting run over by 3 people. But
yeah, I guess I look at the radar a lot, so that's never usually a problem for me.
There's a radar?
Yep.
Where?
Bottom left or bottom right? Thought.
I must not have looked at it, or I just don't remember it. I don't know. I think that game, the onboarding for that game is pretty weak. Like the tutorial is fine, but it's crazy how like I've played a lot of tutorials in my time, and never have I played a tutorial, jumped into the game, and completely forgotten everything that tutorial taught me faster than Destruction All-Stars. Like that tutorial just did nothing, and then like it gives you like that one character off the rip, and I'm like, okay, like, you know, I get the basics because I've played Twisted Metal and stuff like that, and I've played a driving game, so I get that part. Driving the car is fine. The whole joystick navigation thing, like to hit thing, is fine, but I would actually rather have that as a camera tool to be able to turn around and see people behind me. That's how my brain wants to use it.
If you press down on the right stick, it'll show you rear view.
Okay, that's fair. Wish I'd been taught that. But then they just throw this wall of like 20 characters at you, all with these abilities, and they throw 4 modes at you, and it's like, here you go. You can play against AI, or you can play against people. And it's just like, I mean, I want to play against people because that's the whole draw of the game, but I don't understand any of these characters, and there's a lot of shit going on the screen that I don't understand because you didn't give me a way of kind of understanding these characters. Like, you have like a couple seconds before the match starts to like look at the character and be like, okay, what do they do? And then you either need to pick that character or quickly switch to the only other one you know.
I did just confirm the radar is in the bottom right.
Okay.
Because it was bothering me.
Yeah, I can't remember. I either noticed it and forgot it or completely glossed over it, which is fair on my part. Or which is fair, not against the game. I mean, the other thing is the completely stupid.
Yep. I know where you're going.
Stupid.
Yep.
Idea of having voice chat permanently on and through the controller.
Yeah.
What?
So there's been a lot of kickback, rightfully so, about that. Apparently, and there's nothing in the options for you to turn it off. Apparently, what you have to do is you have to press the PlayStation button, and then one of the cards that comes up, it says like voice chat, and then you have to disable it there, but it resets after every match. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah. Were those your 3 points?
Yeah. I mean, like, there's nothing wrong. I have no gripes with the game as a whole. Like, there is nothing inherently wrong with Destruction All-Stars that I can point at other than maybe the voice chat thing and be like, oh, my other thing was, and I don't know if you noticed this, I had a lot of scenarios where I drove by other cars or near other cars without making contact, but took huge chunks of damage.
That never happened to me.
I had a bunch of phantom damage, dude. Like, I'd be driving, I'd be full health, and I would drive by a car, we'd be going opposite directions, and then all of a sudden, I would lose like 60 health. And I'd just be like, what the fuck just happened? Did a strong breeze, like, shear off the right side of my car? Like, what the hell? And I think the on-foot stuff is, like, fine, but, like, I think the game would be better without it, but maybe that's just a me thing. I'm looking for more of a Twisted Metal, and maybe that's my problem, is I wish they had just made another Twisted Metal, because I feel like you could turn this into a good Twisted Metal game if you just, like, make it more about the cars.
Yeah. To me, it feels kind of like a bare bones version of, like, Rocket League mixed with Burnout. Where you're in these closed arenas. Crunches. Yeah, you're in these arenas, and the whole goal is mostly to take down other cars. Some initial thoughts from me. I've probably put in 6 or 7 hours into the game.
You played a lot more than I have so far. Okay.
So just initial thoughts off the top of the head. The game does a terrible job of. From what I can tell, and going through menus, there's not a way outside of a match or outside of the character select screen in a match for you to see what the car's ability, the like all-star car's ability is, and what the all-stars ability is, which is terrible. To the point where like I had to Google like a pre-release article about the game explaining all the characters and what their specific abilities are and what their car's abilities are, just to have on hand while I was playing. They do a really bad job of that. They have 4 modes. They all have tutorials for them, but like when you're selecting a mode, there's not even any kind of like flavor text describing what the mode is and how it works.
So, fun fact, in the bottom right, when you're matchmaking, there's like the little things, like the little did you know cards that kind of flash down there. Those occasionally will explain what the modes are. That's the thing.
Yeah.
The mode doesn't tell you, but every once in a while when you're loading in the bottom right, it's just like, hey, so this Carnado is all about getting your car in the Carnado for points. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's 4 modes. There's 2 team modes and then 2 free-for-all modes. The free-for-all modes are Mayhem, which is just you score points by hitting other cars, wrecking other cars, that kind of stuff. There's Gridfall, which is like one of the Fall Guys modes where the arena's slowly dropping out, and so the arena's constantly getting smaller, and there's holes that you have to avoid, and the last one standing wins, which I hate. Carnado is probably my favorite game mode, to be honest. It's a circular arena. Yeah, it's my favorite mode in the game. It's a circular arena. It's 8v8, and in the middle of the arena, there's this big tornado. So it's like Gambit. So you deal damage.
That's how I heard it, and that's why I was like, fuck, I should reinstall this game.
Yeah, so when you deal damage to other cars and wreck other cars, you get gears, which show up across the top, which are like, what do you collect in Gambit? Motes?
Motes.
Yeah, so basically that. And if you die, you lose them. And you lose them if you get out of your car or if your car's wrecked. So if you want to switch cars and you have a lot of motes, you need to bank them before you switch. So once you get enough gears as you want to deposit, you drive into the Carnado in the middle, it destroys your car and it banks the gears. And I've found that just to be probably the most consistent game mode in terms of the enjoyment I've had so far. The team-based stuff is pretty good. And the stockpile, I've only played this one once. It seems similar, but there's like 3 base kind of control points across the map, like an A, B, and C. But instead of like territory control, it's whoever deposits more, I think it's gears again, deposits more gears into each of them, takes control of them. And it just seems like a rehash, kind of a lazy mode. But I've been switching back and forth between Mayhem and Carnado quite a bit. I agree with you. The on-foot stuff, I don't think is particularly that strong. It's like a hero, like an Overwatch, where all the characters have a unique ability to them, and each of their cars that so there's kind of generic cars across the map that you can jump in and out of, and then you're constantly building up a meter in the bottom left to spawn your hero car that fills up over time from dealing damage to enemies or collecting shards throughout the map, which you can only do outside of the car, and they'll be like across walls that you can wall run and parkour across, that sort of thing.
Has that felt I feel like the wall running stuff is pretty inconsistent. Like there are a lot of times where I'll like jump on a wall and just kind of fall off of it, or like try to jump back off of it onto another platform and just fall off of it. I don't know if you've had if it's felt more consistent for you.
It has felt inconsistent.
Okay.
There's been times where I've been running across and I'll be running across perfectly fine and not touching anything, and then I'll just drop out of nowhere. Yep. Or what I found is that when you get to the end of it, you don't jump, and they'll auto jump to whatever the next platform is.
Oh,
because jumping screws it up. Yeah.
Yeah, because every time I think I have to jump off, and then I just fall down, and I'm just like, why doesn't this work?
Yeah, so that's kind of the conceit and why you want to be out of the car sometimes, is that if you're trying to get your it's called basically your breaker ability, I think. Collecting shards can be a little faster depending on how successful you are at the actual destruction derby part of it. Go ahead.
The first match I ever played online of that, after the tutorial, I got a weird bug. And you know how there's normally the announcers in the game, and they'll talk about like, oh, they're not using their breaker. They're not using their breaker. So I didn't know I even had it because the announcers weren't on in my first game. So I'm just driving around. There's no music. There's no announcers. Just quiet and just like, the people on my controller.
I need to check something. Something smells overwhelmingly of soap, and I hope my mom didn't like overload the washing machine. So I'm just gonna go check that real quick.
That's fair.
All good.
Here's the wallet.
Yep.
But yeah, like it just that first match felt so awful, and I was like, I can't end it on that. I got to go another. And like the thing is like I think my problem is I was trying to play Mayhem because Mayhem feels like the mode it wants you to play.
Mm-hmm.
I just really don't like Mayhem because Mayhem is just it's like people just people just wait to get the big cars, and then they just wait until a bunch of people get in a crowd, and then they just plow through that crowd. That's all they do. And that's, a way to play the game, but it's like, I'm trying to go around to like, pick fights and stuff like that, because that's what I want to do. I want to get out there and actually like pick fight. Nobody's trying to like car joust. Everybody's just trying to get into a cluster, and then a big car just comes through and runs everybody over, And so there's like the 3 people with 100+ points, and then there's everybody else with like 50. Every match. So it's like the 3 people who are just waiting for everybody else to fight, and then they just drive through them.
Yeah,
and it's it's boring.
I'd say most of my Mayhem games that I've played so far have been pretty jousty. It's a lot of people chasing each other around the map. I haven't had people have ended up in kind of clusters, and I've taken advantage of that. But generally, my experience has been pretty good with the matches so far. But it definitely happens.
Yeah. And just like not understanding some of those like special cars when they call them, and it's like some dude who's not even boosting but just runs me over and knocks me out in one hit. And it's just like, okay, how does that happen? Like this dude is just casually taking a left and destroys me. And I'm just like, okay, that's neat, I guess. And then there's another dude who like, I don't realize he's blowing up. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on, And then I get some box dude who looks like he's trying to be Sweet Tooth, and he's throwing these boxes, and I'm like, are they even doing anything? Like,
yeah, there's no like the whole conceit of this game are these hero characters, and they don't explain the hero characters, and it's a problem because when you are on the character select screen, you can press square to look at their abilities. But by the time you get out of that screen, because you can't select the character from that screen, the character will be taken, which has happened to me a couple times. So you really only learn about the abilities once you just pick the character, and then on the load screen it shows the 2 abilities.
Or you have to play a bunch of offline matches against AI.
Or play a bunch of offline matches.
Which doesn't actually help you get better at the game. Like I did one offline match, and like I won it handily. The AI is no good. Let's be real. This is a tutorial AI. So, you play against them, you go into it feeling really good, and then you get 11th in against people, and it's just like, that's super discouraging to a new player, I feel like, where it's like, okay, I feel like I really like this character that I just tried in this. This felt really good. Let me go and play real people. And then once you realize, oh, real people aren't that stupid. They're not just going to sit there and take it, They're going to jump out of their car. They're going to move around a lot. Like, people take advantage of the on-foot mode way more than the AI does. The AI only do it, like, when you really destroy them. Also, there's that mechanic where you can, like, hijack other people's cars. I feel like that mechanic heavily favors the driver.
It does.
Yeah. Like, way too much. Like, half the time, they've almost filled their bar before I even get a prompt when I'm trying to hijack.
Yeah, it's
absurd.
Yes. Yeah, I've only managed to like successfully hijack. Maybe
I've done like 2 or 3.
I've only done like maybe 4 or 5 across probably maybe 30, 35 matches. So yeah, it's a weird game. The on foot stuff, like each character has this unique ability. Like the box guy, he'll drop boxes, which will, if you're on foot trying to follow him and you run into a box, it'll knock you down. And like his special car ability, is that he has these boxes that basically, like, if he slams into you, the box will hover over the other car and basically do some damage over time. And it's like I like the car stuff. Like, I've put a decent amount of time into the game. I have like almost half of the trophies already. Like, I like the core of the game. It just feels like it's not there yet. And the fact that this was going to be a $70 launch game would have been disastrous for this thing.
Yeah, like, and the thing is, and the reason why, like I played it and I was like, look, this game is like unoffensively fine. And, you know, that's almost enough in itself, where it's just like, hey, it's totally fine. But it is this PlayStation Plus game. It's going to be free for the next 2 months. But at the same time, it's like, what is this going to look like after the first week, after the first 2 weeks, after the first month? You know, yeah, you might get a couple more people who go in and download it next month who missed it this month. But this game feels, I don't even know if this game is going to be flash in the pan, you know? Pardon me. The matchmaking felt snappy enough. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Fast.
It didn't feel like it was slow, but like at the same time, I don't know who's going to keep coming back to this game.
Mm-hmm.
A game that is already being monetized with like, hey, buy these coin packs.
Yeah, and let's be clear, there's no progression in the game. You when you play matches, you get experience and like your account levels up. And every level, you get, I think, 1,000 coins that you can spend on like skins and voice lines and stuff. But there's no ranked mode. There's no like stat tracking. The unlocks are not exciting. Like, the skins are just palette swaps, from what I can tell so far, which is the only kind of cosmetic thing I don't care about voice lines or emotes or anything. So like, I have like 15 or 16,000 coins that I just haven't spent anything on because nothing is that appealing. Like, this game has some major structural problems, but I really like playing it, and it's frustrating.
See, and like your initial thing of talking about like the Gambit like mode and stuff just got me to go and reinstall it. But now talking about it again, and this is my problem, is like talking about it again and thinking about it. I'm like, God, I just don't want to waste my time on a game that's probably going to be dead a year from now.
Yeah.
You know, or that a game that realistically, you know, between all the other games I'm playing, I'm not going to put the time into it. You know, I reinstalled it because maybe me and you play, you know, some Car Gambit. I already forgot Carnado. Yeah, maybe we play some Carnado at some point. And like, I pick a character. I might just pick that character from the tutorial because that invisible car was pretty neat. I was using Genesis because I had like a daily thing, and that's the thing. They have like daily and weekly challenges and stuff. Like it's a battle royale
that gets you XP, that gets you levels, that get you coins for completely uninteresting cosmetics.
This game is like, it's the perfect PlayStation Plus game, but it's not for anybody else. This game should be free to play right off the rip. Nobody should spend money on this game. I think that's a fair assessment. Nobody should be spending retail money on this game.
Yeah, if it retailed
$20,
if it retailed for how much fun I've had so far, I'd pay $40. That's probably the high end for what I would pay. But yeah, I'm gonna go back to it. I'm having fun. If the developer can kind of at least
they can disable voice chat.
Yeah, or if they can even copy a fifth of what Rocket League did in terms of progression and content and that sort of thing. Like, it could have some legs, but I'm gonna keep going back to it. It's like, I know every match, nothing carries over, nothing really counts, but just the act of playing it is fun. Like,
I'll give it another shot. I was pretty dead set on kind of being done with it, and I was like, should I feel bad about that? But like, you know, I'll give it another shot. You know, I came into it not really expecting anything, and I came away initially impressed. And the more time I spent with it, the less I liked it. Which was like my issue with it. And then I was just like, I was like, okay, well, I have Hitman I have to play, so I'm not going to waste more time today on Destruction All Stars when I need to play Hitman,
Yeah. And it's like, it's at the point for me where it's like, I was playing Mayhem like straight for like a couple hours, and like I was always finishing top 3, and I was like, yeah, the endorphins, I feel it. I feel the satisfaction, because I'm just constantly like crashing people like Burnout, which I love. And some of these hero cars are actually kind of cool, and that's awesome. But I don't like running around, really. You can punch while you're just running around as a person, and you can punch other people and try to knock them out, and they have abilities like the luchador guy. If you pop his ability, he won't be knocked down if a car hits him anymore for a limited amount of time. And it's just like, God, it's like for every like one good thing this game does, I feel like it does like 2 or 3 things wrong. But I still like it, and it frustrates me that I like it as much as I do.
Yeah, it frustrates me that I don't like it more, because I feel like it's a game that I'd like to play, but I don't know.
I think you fall in line with most people, though. That seems to be kind of.
It wouldn't be as big a deal if it wasn't like, Apex's new season just came out. Destiny's new season starts next week. I'm trying to play Hitman. I'm trying to play The Medium. I'm trying to play all these other games. And like, where does Destruction All Stars fit in there when like I played it for, maybe like an hour and a half today. So I'm not trying to be like, hey, I'm not trying to be like, I gave this game a fair shot. I didn't put the time like Ross put into it, but just the first impressions and having things like, I hate that it almost seems like you take more damage if you accidentally make a bad turn and hit a wall than you do if you hit an enemy. Or the situations where like you're trying to charge them, you hit them, but then they knock you away and wreck your car, and it's just like 2 equivalent vehicles, but the game just kind of flipped a coin, it feels like. And it's these certain scenarios where I'm just like, and unfortunately I have been on the receiving end of these unfortunate circumstances in my brief time with the game. And I'm just like, this feels bad to play for me, because I didn't come here to feel like shit playing this game. I didn't come here to lose every coin flip or to take this phantom damage when I drive by someone and lose half my health. Like, that's not what I signed up for. And at a certain point, again, it's just like, there are other things I'd rather be playing, and I'm going to give it another shot. Why the hell not? It's one of the few exclusives out there right now for any next gen console or current gen console. So, give it a fair shot. But like, I don't see this being a game I'm playing a month from now.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not sure I see myself playing it a month from now. I see me playing it maybe a week from now, and then I'll follow to see what changes they make.
If their solution, like the direction this game goes, here's what it all comes down to in my eyes. What is their solution when it leaves PlayStation Plus? So after March, when April rolls around and it's off PlayStation Plus, is their solution, hey, we have a bunch of content to drop, or hey, we have a $10 battle pass?
And like right now, there's a challenge mode in the game that are like character specific. And there's 3 that are out right now, but like in order to, with the exception of the first one, which is with the luchador guy, which is just like a series of like 8 kind of different matches. They're not the standard game modes. There's kind of some different spins on it. Like that one is free, but then the other 2 are locked behind real money. So it's like, well, you're trying to give your characters more like personality and a little bit of backstory, but you're locking it behind a paywall.
And that's exactly why I said I feel like this should be a free-to-play game, because there's too many paid elements in it for it to be a $70 game. I say it's perfect for PlayStation Plus because it should be a free game. And that's why, like, the moment you take $40, even if it's $40, even if it's $20, and you're taking that money to come into this game from somebody, and then you're saying, great, now if you want to progress this character's story, you have to pay us more money. What did I pay for?
Yeah.
You know?
Sidebar, this is the game that looks like ARMS meets Rocket League.
I guess you could say that, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's enough about
It's Twisted Metal for kids.
Yeah.
Maybe they should make another Twisted Metal. Maybe that would be better.
Twisted Metal's too edgy now, man.
Twisted Metal is perfect as long as
Twisted
David
Metal
Jaffe
PS3
doesn't
was
touch
so
it
good.
again.
It's too edgy, man.
The first couple of levels in that one were fine, and then he got crazy, and David Jaffe shouldn't touch Twisted Metal anymore.
And then
he shouldn't be allowed within 100 yards of Twisted Metal. He's still
touch anybody without consent.
Like, try not to be like super mean about game development people because their experience, they know a lot more about it than I do. David Jaffe still really defends Drawn to Death, though, unironically believes it's like a really just excellent game.
Yeah, he does.
And it's just on so many levels not. And I'm still amazed Sony ever let him make it.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna ask Nat if he wants to talk about a game he's been playing, and we can just go around the horn. So Nat's not quiet for an hour.
Nat should just play Destruction All Stars. Get a PS5, man.
We act like I can say that. Yeah, I've been playing Divinity: Original Sin with my friends. I've been having a really good time. And I feel like once we get off of our island, my character is going to be...
We're already off the island.
I mean, like, once you get off the boat, my character is going to be, like... I need to respect my character again, but... Yeah, my character is really strong. I got, like... If there's 10 pieces to this puzzle, I'm on piece 8 right now. To make my character, like, ridiculously strong. All I need is glass cannon and, like, 2 more skills, and it's a wrap. But playing that, and I've been playing some Hades. You guys know how we all feel about that. And the new addition to the rotation, I've been playing some Going Under.
What is Going Under again?
I know what that is, and I can't think of it.
It's from Team 17, the people who make Worms and some other games like that. And it is a really cutesy roguelite with some Hades elements, not to the level of like the gods and stuff. There's like, speaking to people and retrieving stuff for them, but you work at a startup that's overrun by goblins.
Yes, I do remember this game now. Yeah, you like it so far?
Yeah, it's good. It's a good game.
Nice.
Good roguelike. Very. I can play it. Like even when I'm getting frustrated at it, it doesn't feel as intense as Hades, for example. So I can play it like feeling kind of relaxed about it and not inherently get super hyped up about it because it's kind of relaxing. The art style is very pastel-y and it's cute. I enjoy it.
Nice.
And the writing for the main character, I think, is pretty good as well.
Nice. Yeah, it looks cool. It's another roguelite to add to your roster of roguelites. But about Divinity, I was thinking about Divinity today, and like in my mind, I was thinking of like what's another like awesome like 4-player co-op game, and I went back to like the Borderlands franchise, which I know you don't like, Nat. But
who's that? I don't like Borderlands.
I thought you didn't like Borderlands.
No, I just said I'm not buying the new one when it came out for so much money.
Yeah, that's fair. But like I was thinking, Borderlands, I feel like is a game that's not fun in single player, and it's like almost required to have people to play. I feel like Divinity, you could have a perfectly fine time in single player, but having people play with you is just like exponentially makes it better.
Me and Chris were talking about getting trying to convince you and Cypher to get Baldur's Gate when this officially comes out sometime this year. I don't think it's a right now thing because especially because it's still in development. But once it's out,
yeah,
and we're done with our Divinity campaign, which at this rate, the game should be done by then.
It's in the next 2 to 5 years.
It shouldn't take us that long.
I've been having such a good time,
man. If we're doing 3 or 4 hours a week, we're fine.
I don't know. Actually,
weeks.
I don't know how long the game is, actually.
Well, add 20 to whatever number you get.
Let's see. So, how long to beat.com?
You should figure out how long it took us to get off the island and what's the projected time, and then figure that ratio out for the rest of the game.
That's too much math. So it'll probably be, if we're adding for another 20 hours, about 70, 75, 76 hours to get through. So.
All right.
That's
I mean, who knows? We might just start mainlining. I'm sure we're going to reach a point where we're just like, yo, let's just finish this.
Yeah, probably.
There's going to be a point where we either get grabbed by the story or we're just beelining it. We just need to play it more. Tuesday's not enough.
Hey, man.
You guys are free after this. I'm here.
I have anime night tonight. We rescheduled to Wednesday.
It
can get rescheduled again.
It's true. There's too much life happening to have more than one night of that.
Divinity, I really do look forward to playing that every week, and I'm just like, man, I want to play more of this.
I know, me too, man.
I was talking about it with my friend Neil at work today, and I was just telling him about everything that's happening, and he was super intrigued with it.
Mm-hmm.
Tell him you should come watch it happen.
Yeah, it's a great game. It's a great game where a lot of just like natural situational storytelling comes out just from the actions of the players, like a D&D game.
Like how I got healed finally.
Yeah.
It finally happened.
Oh, it was clutch too.
Somebody cast Restore on me, on my undead character.
Because you got hurt, but then the heal felt so much better.
The heal
only
almost
burned a little
killed
bit.
Me.
Almost doesn't count.
Almost
don't
does
your
count.
Character.
That battle was a disaster that we somehow turned into a really solid win.
I think on the scale of disaster, that was actually pretty low.
Yeah, ultimately. Once we started using the worm to our advantage, that changed everything.
Yeah.
After the worm killed me.
I feel like I can't remember who, but somebody's like, the worm can't move. And I was like, I'm pretty sure it can. And then it was like, it moves.
I think it was Cypher. Cypher was like, I don't think the worm can move. And then you were like, and then it immediately teleported to me, and I was like, no!
Yeah. It reminded me of Star Wars, like, they can fly now? It can move now? It can move now. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I've also been playing... well, I didn't get to talk about it because it wasn't on last week, but I finished The Pathless on PS5. Final say for that is up on the site.
I think you did talk about finishing The Pathless 2 weeks ago.
I didn't have it done 2 weeks ago.
I know you mentioned the final say was going up, though.
Yeah, I mentioned that I was finishing it up and the final say would be up the next week.
I'm sorry. I misunderstood. Or I misremembered.
So yeah, I finished The Pathless. That game is fine. It's frustrating as to how close to great that game feels like it could be. It's just the main gameplay loop becomes so incredibly repetitive, and the attempt at emotional storytelling just kind of falls flat. But it's a short game. I think it's worth playing if you can find it on sale or something like that. But yeah, I was pretty disappointed by it, to be honest. So I finished that. Played Divinity. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but on the HalfGen Twitter, we ran a poll as to what my next game to play should be, and Control won the vote.
And it's in PlayStation Plus this month.
And it's the Ultimate Edition, which has the PS5 upgrade
and ray tracing.
So at 30 frames per second.
Oh.
They don't have the 60 ray tracing that should be standard in every game. Yeah.
Why even have all this horsepower if we're going to limit it to 30? Why? Why not live our best lives?
But it's good timing, actually, because I had the PS4 version, because I have the PS4 disc. I had that installed, and then once they announced Ultimate Edition was coming to PlayStation Plus, I was like, that's perfect. That's the free PS5 upgrade, pretty much. So that is installed. I started playing Destiny 2 a little bit again. I did a public event just to kind of feel what it was like. I installed it on PS5, and 60 FPS feels nice. And now
it does feel nice on the PS5, like real nice.
Yeah, the main reason why I want to jump back into Destiny 2 is because I realized I'm 2 trophies away from the platinum.
What's the other one you're missing?
Getting unlocking all the hunter subclasses, because I never made a hunter.
I have
literally, a Titan and I have a warlock.
Literally, just make a hunter, and I think you unlock it.
Solid.
Yeah,
solid.
You can also go through on that character the new light stuff, which is supposed to be kind of cool. So it takes you through like the Cosmodrome and stuff. It basically takes you through the beginning of D1, but like new characters and stuff involved, like Shahan and stuff like that. The new season of Destiny looks really cool, and I hope it ends up being as cool. Don't give me that look. I'm entitled to talk about Destiny, Nat. He gave me the dirtiest look.
I literally was looking down.
No, you were like,
that's me looking up. Look, it's like,
look at you.
I was looking. Look, I was like this.
He looks like he's giving me a look.
Look, if I just tilt my head straight up,
Destiny again.
If I tilt my head straight up, it's this.
The people on the video, people watching the video, you know what I'm talking about. You saw it with your own eyes, okay?
It's I was very sad when I logged in, because my favorite planet to just kind of grind public events was Titan, which is no longer there.
Yeah,
I was sad about that because they were so close.
They did have a really good Titan,
the ocean moon thing.
Well, yeah, they're across the map from each other. Well, not across, I guess, but
I feel like they're the closest out of any of the other zones. And
have you ever been to
the
fast. EDZ or Nessus?
Yeah.
There's so much I can teach you.
I don't want to be around that long.
No. You're gonna need to be around a little while for a Grandmaster. I'm warning you. Like basically next season the power cap's gonna go up to 1310. Grandmaster's probably gonna be 1325. No, Grandmaster's probably gonna be 1350 or 1360, and then they're gonna cap you at 25 under that. So you're gonna need to get artifact power. It's probably gonna be 1350. That way you grind 15 artifact power and then you take that in. It's not too bad. The Grandmaster though is not going to be easy. Again, it's just going to be a thing of how you invest your time into the game. We can kind of get you rolling, running some like higher end stuff, get you through a couple raids, get you some good guns. That's going to be the thing. Is right now you're not going to have any real relevant guns because you're coming back after a long time away.
Yeah.
And everything you have is probably sunset, except for those blues you probably got running the public event.
Yeah, I was still using my Vigilance Wing.
Vigilance Wing is still relevant. That's an exotic, so you can infuse that if you want. Would not suggest infusing anything until you get to closer to 1300 next season.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Yeah, but the new season looks really cool. Callus's daughter went up to Zavala and said, bend the knee, and he said no. And so now we're fighting the Cabal again. They're adding a brand new strike, brand new. The living tank, something like that. They're also bringing back 2 D1 strikes, Saber and the Sepix Prime strike.
Yep.
They're bringing those back. I think they're expanding the Cosmodrome a little bit. They're not bringing back the Plague Lands, but they're bringing back everything else. Pardon me. They've got a new 3-player activity coming in. New exotic bow that can track and lock on to like 3 enemies at once. It all looks really cool. There should be some good story developments. I don't know if you're caught up on this part, Ross, but Sagira is dead, so Osiris is just a man now.
Oh.
Yeah, he lost his ghost this season. Yeah. He was almost corrupted by the darkness, and she sacrificed herself to save him. Also, Uldren Sov is back as Crow, and he's a pretty nice guy.
Huh.
Nobody really hates him anymore.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's an impressive turn for them to pull with him. I really hope Destiny has a better year this year than it did last year. Would really like that. I saw that.
For me, other than me just briefly dipping my toe back into Destiny, it's mostly been just kind of Destruction All Stars. It was kind of a slow week for me in terms of games. I'm looking forward to starting Control over, because also apparently the PS4 save files don't work with the Ultimate Edition. That was a controversy that Remedy was dealing with.
At this point, you probably don't want to.
Yeah. No, I wasn't going to anyway. Yeah. But
I have that installed on my PS5. I'm kind of hoping to do a comparison, like with the 3080 versus the PS5, and kind of see how they stack up. I think that'll be pretty interesting.
I think Digital Foundry or someone basically got the PC specs for the PS5 version and did the comparison of what the PC settings are to get the PS5 version. I think.
Okay.
They did that on one video. It was interesting.
I just kind of want to see I want to run it maxed out on here, kind of with DLSS and ray tracing.
I'm sure it will look
get
much
a couple
better.
shots. But I think this little box right here will be not so little box, but this box right here will be closer than it probably has been since the PS3.
Yeah,
in terms of how the hell did they get it to run this well, Yeah. Because I still don't understand how the hell they got PS3 and 360 games running as well as they did, as late as they did. I think it'll be closer than it's been in a long time. And that's what I really want to see is this running at its best versus this running at its best. And I'm pointing to my pride and joys.
That's what he calls each of his biceps.
Yeah, pride and joy. Me and Nat, we're both at. Come on, Ross.
No,
you've been hitting the gym. You gotta flex.
You got the biggest guns. You better flex.
It hurts to raise my arms, and I also don't have the biggest guns.
Nah, you do have the biggest guns.
He's got pretty big guns.
Mostly
guns.
Both of you have bigger arms than I do.
Well, yeah, but mine is because I eat Domino's all the time. Yours is because you go to the gym.
I don't have big arms at all.
I mean, I think my arm is I'm okay, I'm better than I look. Oh, here it comes. Oh, yeah, baby. Yeah. I do all right for myself.
It was a good gym week. I got close to my deadlift one rep max from back when I was working out all the time. So I hit 285. My max was 325 for deadlift, and then set a new 5-pound bench press PR. Which was
nice. Arms should be fairly slender. I feel like they're slender. They're not super diesel or anything. They're
yeah. It's mostly since quarantine started. I'm just trying to get my weight down a little bit because I've been hovering around 225 or 230, and I should really be probably around 215 or 220 just for my height. But
I think I've actually lost a little bit of weight.
I'll tell you, Russ.
6'2.5", 6'3" with shoes.
Just one though, because I'm 6 flat and I'm trying to get down to 180, but I'm 236 right now.
Yeah.
I'm 5'10" and I got you both beat. Not in the way I want.
Yeah. In high school I was 6'2", 180, and I was too skinny. So put on
trade
45 pounds since high school, but luckily I'm tall and
carry
have
it well,
metabolism. So mostly it goes to my thunder thighs, which I'm okay with. So.
I barely work my arms out, so they should be fairly skinny. These are only just day-to-day muscles. Legs, I run a lot. Well, I try to run a lot. So
yeah, once there's not ice on the ground anymore, I actually just bought some new running shoes, and I want to I don't want to run a long time, but just work my way into just running around the neighborhood maybe a couple times in the morning before work.
Hey, it's a good habit.
Yeah.
I had a
Trying to get
plan.
back in
Oh,
running.
I liked when I was a kid. The thing that kept me like really skinny was like every day we rode bikes. Every day we rode bikes. And so like I was like really skinny as a kid. And then you can kind of tell the point where I stopped riding bikes because my friends weren't riding bikes anymore, but I kept eating the same way, and then I had a job so I could afford to eat where I wanted, which was always Wendy's. And so you can see where I went astray. You can see
You
that
should get a
chart.
stationary
It's
bike for your room.
right here. I should get something like I can't fit that in here. Are you kidding?
Yo, hold on.
What you call this are kind of small, actually.
Hold on. Leaving the mic here so it doesn't screw up. Right back.
I can't remember what the bike. They're kind of pricey, but yeah, they have a small footprint.
I mean, we have like a gym here, so like I can go there anytime I want, and they have bikes.
But imagine. Boom, here's an idea. You play something on stream, and you have a bike. So you stream while you're playing something. You get like either one of the interactive stream games that people could play with you. Or you play something low stress and you bike while you're streaming. Now you can turn this into an activity.
Yeah, my parents got this for Allie and me for Christmas. It was like $100 on. It was like $100 on Amazon, and it folds up, and it takes up almost no space.
Link me that.
And yeah, I'll try to find it. But yeah, man, it's physical health is super important, and I've never been good at making sure I treat myself well in terms of physical health, but need to do better. Want to be around for a while.
So. Trying to outlive my dad, at least. I'm getting closer every year.
I was thinking of getting a Peloton.
Pelotons. People swear by them.
You guys might see me next time. I might not even have an office chair. I'm just have a Peloton.
Yeah. You're just gonna be doing a class during the podcast.
Nat won't be on the pod. I'm not editing that. I'm not editing that.
Crazy.
It's not gonna happen.
He's trying to better himself, and
yeah, that's great
for that.
Congratulations! I'm happy for you. Don't make me do this.
You know what month it is? You're excommunicating me?
No. I just don't want to have to edit that track.
See, this is a look.
The background little whirl of the bike just
see, Nat, that's the exact same look. The only difference was the way your head was tilted.
So see, the eyebrows are up. Before the eyebrows weren't up. It was just. I was giving this look. The eyebrows are way more up with a little tilt in it.
Perfect. So yeah, that's your HalfGen official fitness section of the podcast. Make sure you're taking good care of yourself, both physically and mentally, during these tough times.
Yeah. Play 2 other things this week that I'm gonna go over real quick.
Oh, sorry, one more thing. I remembered the thing I forgot.
Go.
So a couple of days this past week, so right now, basically, my gym is set up in the garage at my house. Because my wife is a competitive powerlifter, so she has like a combo rack and plates and barbells and everything just in the garage. But a couple days last week, wind chill was like 0 or negative, and we have a heater out there, but it's not good enough for that. So I started up Ring Fit Adventure again to get some cardio in.
I have that. It's over there,
dude. You should play it. It's fun. Man, you can really tailor the intensity of that to what you need it to be. Because the last time I played it, I wasn't working out at all. So this time, since I have been working out, I bumped up the intensity a couple levels. I was sweating. That gives you, like, Ring Fit Adventure shouldn't be, you shouldn't have that be, like, your main workout. Like, it's not going to make you super healthy, but it will, like, you'll lose some weight and you'll feel good after doing it. That thing can get intense. And yeah, I still think it's a worthwhile investment for people who don't necessarily have a gym and are trying to exercise a little bit. Ring Fit Adventure is good, but yeah, that's it.
That's it. I actually 3 games. I'm gonna touch. I'm sorry, you had something, Nat?
Say it's a Ring Fit Adventure. My friend Jamal swears by it.
Yeah,
I've streaming it for a while back, which I was like, "You're a braver man than I."
No kidding.
Face cam and all, streaming Ring Fit Adventure. That's what I should do. I should get the 80s workout fit with like the leg warmers and stuff.
Yes.
And the spandex. Put my hair up like this and stream Ring Fit Adventure with the headband.
Dude.
And just listen to like Push It to the Limit.
Yeah, beating Dark Souls using the Ring Fit Adventure band.
Oh shit.
I'm sure someone's beaten Dark Souls with like bananas hooked up to electrodes.
You need Dark Souls where you have to dodge roll. Like imagine that, like you have to do the rolls, and you're just like shit.
it's things in games you don't realize are like so hard to do in real life. Like in stealth games, just perpetually crouching everywhere. Yo, no one can do it. That's so hard.
I kneel down and I'm like, yo, my back.
I don't like Dark Souls normally. I admire Dark Souls, but I don't like Dark Souls. So why would I make it harder for me to play?
Because
as a commitment. If you want to talk about like sticking with something until you finish it, and if you're bad at Dark Souls and you're having to play with Ring Fit Adventure, you'll be doing that stuff for a long time. You're going to be like the Rock by the time you're done.
You're going to need another ring.
The fuck?
Yeah.
You're going to need a new resistance ring.
Yeah. That thing is surprisingly strong. Anyway, Chris, your 3 games. Go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to go real quick through 2 of them. New season of Apex came out. They brought back Kings Canyon, the original map. They brought out a new champion. He's cool and situationally like really good. He's got like a little arm launcher. He can like launch grenades further than anybody else. He can also stack more grenades than anybody else. So he can do 2 per slot instead of 1. So like you can just be like grenade for days. And then he also has his ultimate where he basically throws a ring of fire around people. And when used properly, I have actually gotten like kills with it. So basically he launches it.
He plays
and
Ring
then,
Fit Adventure as well.
Yeah, so it comes down around them. So like you can surround an enemy team. If you see them like clustered and fighting, you just drop the ring on them. And then to get out, they have to go through the fire. Or for another team to get in, they have to go through the fire. So like it kind of like it's positional denial.
That sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, he wasn't my favorite until like I just couldn't. I was having a hard time because like he's not like a hot land guy. Like he's not the type of dude you want to just land. His kit isn't really built for like I want to land and get into a fight right now. His kit is more I want to land outside of the fight and then fight my way in.
Gotcha.
He wants to lay siege, you know? That's how he feels. And we had one game, it was me, Cypher, and this random guy. Oh God, what was his name? It was God. It was something like Big Dick something sauce something. Yep. And I was just
somehow worse than the made up.
We were kidding and we were joking and like we were the champion squad. I was like, okay, we're the champion squad, so we just lost, you know. Did I take a screenshot? I don't think I did. Yes, I did. Hold on. Did I? No. Damn it. I should have taken a screenshot. I can't remember his name, but like we thought this match was going to go to shit. We landed on a half of the map. Nobody, I shit you not, not a single soul landed on this half of the map. Everything was unlooted. We spent the whole game looting, couldn't find anybody. We had blue shields, we had nothing. We go in, we find people fighting. I drop that ult on them, surround them with the fire, get 2 knocks right off the rip. We go in, we clean house. Another team comes in, we picked up their stuff, cleaned house, win out, won the game. And it was just like, that was the ultimate, just like, that's how that dude needs to be played. You need to play from the outside in. Like, that guy is all about just like lane siege. Here's 2 teams fighting. Now I'm in control, you know? And now I'm throwing grenades at you like a mega buster. Plasma power, you know? You remember that show? I like that show. But yeah, so he was cool. He's also kind of funny. He's got like an Australian accent. He's got this launcher on his back, and in the idle screen, he'll like shoot a beer out, and he'll like cheers everybody, and like drink the beer and just throw it. He's funny. I also played Hitman 3 finally. I didn't play much, but I promised. A promise was a promise. I said I was going to play Hitman before this podcast. I meant it. I literally played Hitman before this podcast.
Yep.
I finished Dubai. It did not go as smoothly as I wanted, but the one thing I was really proud of is that I accepted the fact that I wasn't going to go through it flawless, and I beat up a bunch of guards, and I was just like, you know what? Because normally in stealth games, I'm like, no, fuck it, restart. You know, I want to do the whole thing stealth. I was like, you know what? Nobody's onto me. I see no reason why anybody would come this way. I'm going to leave these 4 bodies on these stairs and just go do my mission. And it totally worked.
Nice.
And I ended up killing a couple of people, and I got spotted at the end. And I don't know how they spotted me, but they did. But I got out. I got 1 star. That's a new personal best. I'm very proud. But it was fun. I had a good time. And this is like my real first, time playing Hitman. I missed out all the other times. And so it was really fun. Mm-hmm. And, I got caught up on the story before playing. And, there's some intrigue happening. And I'm excited to play more. I'm very much looking forward to spending more time with Hitman 3.
Nice. Much like Nat with Dark Souls, which is also my case with Dark Souls, where I kind of admire it from a distance. And the same kind of thing with Hitman. My best memories of Hitman were in high school when Derek loved Hitman. And when I would just go over to his house after school, we would just he would be playing through Blood Money missions. And we were just no, we were just planning stuff and just having stuff go wrong, and you were in the bayou, and those games are like a sandbox for a lot of comedy, and it's in that way, it's kind of like a linear GTA, to where there's these big open environments where you can kind of approach things in a number of different ways, and it never stops necessarily from the game's perspective being serious, but you make it ridiculous, and I love it.
Yeah, the game takes itself seriously the entire time, no matter what you're doing. All right, 47, you got to be real sneaky and get in there. You're punching dudes in the throat, and you're getting spotted. You're changing disguises. The alarms are going crazy. You're pushing people off of balconies, and it's just good job, 47. Now head into the next room. And I'm like, yes, good job, me. As I leave the trail of burning and dead bodies behind me.
Yeah.
I'm really good at this assassination business. I left a lot of people dead.
You're literally the meme of the dog in the house burning down. Everything is fine.
Apparently, one of the stages, guards respawn. So there's videos of people having 300 bodies in a bathroom.
Oh God.
I think Dan Reichert did that.
Yeah, I think he did that once in Hitman 1 or 2.
I
don't know if he did it again in 3
or something similar.
Because I know
it might have been
that's
20 or 30.
That was his thing when he was at Giant Bomb. Was he always tried to fill bathrooms with bodies, and so he would just get as many people as he could in one bathroom.
He did that again on the MinMax YouTube channel, which are a bunch of his former coworkers from Game Informer who got laid off. He did the same thing. I miss Dan Reichert at Giant Bomb. I'll say that.
I watched the other night. He had he does you know what Salty Bet is, right?
Kind of.
So basically, it's you pit 2 characters against each other, and you bet this fake currency on it.
Yeah.
So he does Smashy Bet. So he makes amiibos fight each other, but he does it like a WWE production. So the last one he did was titled Snake's Revenge, because Snake got beat in the last one he did. And so he was like, Snake is coming back for vengeance. And so he had this title card. He had all these matches lined up. He had the Fire 5 or something, which are all Fire Emblem characters, and he's and Cloud got stuck with them and got put in jail by mistake, so now he's pissed and back for revenge in Snake's Revenge. And he has all these matches of you got these, and we got this 3v5, and they really want to beat these Fire Emblem guys. Luigi is the champion of the whole thing.
That makes sense.
The reigning champion twice. Sonic almost beat him, but Sonic was an idiot. Sonic is too stupid to win, and so Luigi got handed a fucking belt. It was bullshit. But dude, he has like production values. Like he's got a jail. It's like his beer fridge. He puts characters like when they fuck up in jail. There's this storyline with Ness and what's the other one?
Lucas.
They were like the two idiots because apparently like the first match they ever did, they just like lost in the most stupid way possible. And so he does this rematch, and he's like, it's them versus like two Richter Belmonts. And the two idiots went on and won the whole 2v2 tournament. And everybody, like, it was this crazy thing because he was just like, oh, these guys are going to fucking lose. I'll even give them home field advantage. And, like, they just ran through the whole thing. And he's just like, oh, my God. Like, he's genuinely sitting there surprised. He's like, I can't believe it. The two idiots, they won. And I'm sitting there watching this. I'm like, this is amazing. He's just doing this on his Twitch channel. His wife is tweeting about it. Like, you know, my husband was new to streaming a year ago, and now he's running these productions that, you know, should take multiple people, but he's doing it all by himself from like a sofa.
yeah, and I've watched a little bit of him. Yeah,
Dan Reichert, and I mean this in the best way, is a very special person in the sense of like he has like a childlike charm to him, and like I hope he never loses that. Like the world needs more. As crazy as this might sound, the world needs more Dan Reichert.
I think his father would disagree with you.
His father would almost certainly disagree with me, but that's okay. He made him that way. There's just a charm to Dan Reichert, you know what I mean. You follow him at Giant Ball. He's God. The other game I played, this early access game, it was gifted to me by someone on my stream. Have any of you heard of Stone Shard?
Yes, I watched Northern Line do a Let's Play of like 30 or 40 episodes a year or two ago.
I own Stone Shard, and I had been putting it off because I don't like to get heavily invested in early access games because like I don't like to lose progress and things like that. I'll dabble with them early like I did with Everspace a couple weeks ago. But I tend not to get super invested until they're closer to release, or already released. Like Hades. Sure. I didn't play a lot of Hades until it went 1.0, and then I played all of Hades, you know? Stone Shard is a game I think I'm going to kind of break that rule for. I played the early parts of that game. Huh?
Having that much fun?
It's real good. Like, because the first thing the game tells you is, like, you're not the chosen one. You're not special. And any enemy at any time can kill you. And it's managing that. Like, I kept getting in this fight with this boss, and I kept not realizing how to fight the boss. So the boss kept killing me. And then I figured out this mechanic, and I'm just like kiting the boss around, making him slam into this wall to stun himself. And then I'm getting hit. Okay, now I got to run. And it's like, it's learning things like, okay, I got to move diagonal because if I move side to side, he's going to hit me and things like that. And, you know, there's situations where, like, I walk into a room and it's two guys that look like, oh, these guys should be easy. I should, you know, easily crush these guys. They got me to my last bit of health, and I'm just like, okay, I need to make a decision right now. Like, do I go all in? Do I hope I get, like, a second wind if they kill me and then I don't die? Or do I try and run? Do I try and heal? And it's just like, you have, like, because it's all turn-based. You have that, like, one turn to make a decision, and it's just, like, every battle kind of goes to that point where it's like, whatever I do this next turn is either going to kill me or save me.
Yeah.
And it's great. I'm very much looking forward to playing more of that.
Yeah, it looked great like a year or two ago whenever I watched that Let's Play, so I can't even imagine all the progress that's been made on it.
The shame really is that according to their early access page, it's not set to come out till late 2022 or 2023.
Wow. That's crazy.
And it
felt so it looked so polished and complete.
It feels polished. It even has voice acting.
Yeah.
But like this game, I just want to figure out when it came to early access. It came last year, February 6th. So like they have so much of it done. Like I imagine it's a small team. That's the only thing I can think of. But like I'm really excited to see more of it. And like I hope that they don't like, wipe progress or anything like that. It's real fun.
Yeah.
I like it a lot, and I'm like really excited to play more of it.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to pull a gnat real fast, and I will be right back. Have to go just take care of my dog real fast, who's going a little bit nuts. I'll be right back. Leaving the mic here, so it won't mess up the audio. And
we'll see. Oh, he's got his own wallet technique. Look what you've created, Nat. It's actually pretty cool. Yeah, everybody wants to be you.
If you can't beat him, you got to join him, man.
Exactly.
So you got to hit the wow. And then there was one. You can see the inside of the box. What's in the box? I feel like we're in 7.
Just want Ross to come back and see the box. Just have him be like, what happened to Chris's camera?
Le box.
This was a box of Milano cookies. My address is on here. Milano cookies.
They are good.
Double dark chocolate. It's the only way to go. So I got some new stuff that I wanted to talk about. Nothing like nothing like crazy, like, oh, have you heard but like I think some actually like pretty good, kind of exciting new stuff. I wanted Ross to be here for it. So we're gonna kind of fill the gap till he gets back. Nat, have you watched the trailer for The Day Before?
I don't even know what that is.
You should watch the trailer. It's in the notes. Here, I'll put it in the Discord chat here real quick. Forgive my mouse being on the screen, any video watchers. You should watch this. Yeah. Because it's something. So, for context...
Oh, I have heard of this and I have seen this already.
Okay. So, the developer... Welcome back, Ross.
Thank you.
Ross, did you watch the trailer for...
I did.
The Day Before? Okay, cool.
I had my headphones on this whole time.
Yeah.
So, I know about the Milano cookie box.
I know you did. That was part of the joke.
Perfect.
So... This developer has developed 2 games. Why are the reviews so... Oh, because it's abandoned now. So they've developed 2 kind of, 2 indie games so far. The Wild 8, which is now considered abandoned by its fans. It released October 3rd, 2019, and as of the end of 2020, people are saying it's unfinished. It's been abandoned by the devs, things like that. They also made another game called Radiant One, which is like a little story-driven adventure game. Fine games, nothing crazy. They're well received, but nothing like earth-shattering. And then you have The Day Before, which has the production value, which on a surface level looks like it has the production values of like The Last of Us, with the gameplay of The Division 2 and the looting mechanics and, player interaction of like a DayZ or something like that. And it looks really good. But it also just is so out of their wheelhouse. Like so drastically different from everything else they've made. And there's been, some concern, not, the media and stuff like that. They've mostly been just rolling on what they've seen. And, it's a damn impressive looking game. And I'm not going to take that away from it. But there have been those, the users, the players of their previous games and stuff like that who have kind of taken to Reddit and things like that and been like, hey guys, this doesn't look right. Like, there are some people who have gone through and kind of picked apart the trailer and been like, a lot of this stuff looks like it could have been, maybe a little faked here and there, or like probably not in engine, things like that. There's no like real evidence other than like hearsay at this point, but it's definitely, it's a thing that came out of nowhere. A thing that looks, damned impressive, but from a developer with no history of doing that.
Right.
And it's just like, I don't know what you guys think. You guys saw it. I don't know what your thoughts are on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it looks like it has a lot of potential, but at the same time, like you said, I generally, when a new interesting game is announced or a trailer is shown, I usually go back and see previous games that the developer has made, and kind of like you said, it doesn't seem like the groundwork is there. It kind of feels like, and I could be wrong because I totally forgot who the developer was, but it kind of feels like how Gearbox threw a ton of money at Godfall. And the developer of Godfall obviously feels like they hadn't done that before either.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Kind of similar to that, or even like to a lesser degree, who's the development team? Hold on. Bloober team, who just released the Medium for Xbox Series X, and how
I mean, they at least
feels
made
kind of like Observer and stuff. That's why I said, like a little bit to a lesser extent, but kind of like going from, because Observer was still like an indie game. It was a very polished indie game, but going from that to like a AAA game release seems odd.
Yeah, they also did have the experience making Layers of Fear, so they're in their wheelhouse at least, making a horror game. Here's a developer that's like, they're going in a totally different direction, and like, they have their little kind of like survival game that you can play co-op with your friends or whatever, but like,
I'm not gonna hold you. This definitely does remind me like more of Division than anything. Division meets like Last of Us.
Exactly. It just looks like they took like, I like the Division, I like the Last of Us, let's make both,
But in New York City, and they renamed Kentucky Fried Chicken KCC.
It's not okay.
Kentucky Chicken. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't want to be needlessly cynical just because a bunch of people on the internet are needlessly cynical, but like, I feel like that game just came so out of nowhere that it's like, how can you not be a little bit cynical,
Yeah. It's,
I feel like video game cynicism is high with Cyberpunk's botch launch.
And that could also just be part of it too, is after something like that, how can you trust anything at face value?
Yeah. I'll be very interested to see how the development of this game progresses and what happens with it.
Yeah.
The next thing is it says it's an MMO, which is kind of crazy. So if they launch this at the scale, like to scale and everything, and they're a small team, that would be hella impressive.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for cutting you off, Ross.
No. I was just going to say, was there like a release year or anything on that trailer? I can't remember.
Not that I'm aware of.
IGN, and it says nothing.
Yeah,
so it's way too early for them, frankly, to even probably be showing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is probably not an engine. This is probably just a rendering.
Like they sure are presenting it as
shows you riding a train, and you never ride a fucking train in Cyberpunk ever.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see how that develops and progresses. It does seem like it's just kind of out of left field. So
So I got 2 more stories to cover. But if you guys want to cover me real quick, I'm going to step away for a second. I'm going to complete the trifecta here. I'm going to step away for a second and be right back.
Gotcha.
So hold down the fort.
The fort is being held down. Held down.
How have the Knicks been doing lately? I know
Uh,
they started off hot. I haven't been following them really.
all the games we play were never far behind. We're power ranked 16 right now in the league, which I think is pretty good.
Nice.
And yeah, we've lost a couple games in a row, but they also aren't starting quickly for some reason, which I don't know. Maybe I'm not
starting instead.
Huh?
Who are they starting instead?
Alfred Payton.
He's fine, but quickly. Why wouldn't you start quickly?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know. What else?
Is he a rookie? He's a rookie,
yes,
right?
he is a rookie. We got late in the draft. We've been scoring really well late draft picks. Also next season if the season ended right now, like based on statistics, the Knicks would have the 6th and 9th pick because of the Porzingis trade plus 2 second-round picks.
Dude, you could move those for like an established piece, but next year's draft is also supposed to be like one of the strongest in a long time.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man.
It's just, you just need some veteran leadership on the team. Can't be all young guys. I feel like to carry a lot of success, but I guess it's weird to think that Julius Randle's kind of a vet.
Yeah, and keep Randle because Randle seems like he wants to be here.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that's very valuable.
Randle's been surprisingly good with the Knicks. I wasn't sure how good he was going to be in the league, but he's been better.
For that All-Star, I'm gonna be mad. I mean, he will, but
yeah,
I'd like to see him
it's
out there.
Yeah, it's man.
And RJ Barrett is awakening.
Yeah, man. People were so down on Barrett just because he wasn't Zion, but I think Barrett's going to be in the league longer. To be honest, I don't know if Zion stays healthy.
I think RJ's probably going to be in the league longer than Morant and Zion.
Yeah, I feel like I could see RJ Barrett's career trajectory kind of being like a Joe Johnson. Like he's going to play forever, and he's going to be good forever, like baseline good.
Yeah,
like he'll be an all-star, I think, but like he'll never be bad.
Give him another year, especially because last year was so short. They really didn't get any time to play. He didn't get any time to figure it out.
Yeah.
Now he's averaging like 19 points, and it's only going up.
Yeah.
RJ's
good. You have a fun young team.
Yeah.
Like that's exciting to watch.
They better not get rid of Robinson. Mitchell Robinson.
Oh yeah. No, are they talking about getting rid of him?
Oh, there's a bunch. So I hate. It's been annoying, and I almost deleted the Google like search app off my phone the other day.
Just deleted Google. Period.
You're just getting that shit deleted because the app has all these like cards of like news articles and stuff. And sometimes they just push my buttons. You know what I mean? I have to click on them. And it was somebody from your team's like sports journalism like area. Like Celtics have a great chance of getting Mitchell Robinson. I was like, no, they fucking don't. And it was trying to say, the Knicks are going to take Taco Fall and a bag of potato chips. And it was like, if they do, I swear to God, I will not even watch basketball anymore.
I don't. Yeah, there's no pieces that we have right now. That's not true. There's not many pieces right now that I would see that I would want us to move for Mitchell Robinson that would be like worth it.
But that's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense because Mitchell Robinson, is a gain, but nothing that the Knicks would take that would be an asset. Like that would equal a fair trade where you guys walk away with the better deal.
Yeah, because like Celtics are not moving Jaylen Brown. They're not moving Jason Tatum. They're not moving Marcus Smart. Like they're probably not moving Kemba. So like that leaves like Daniel Tice, who's I think incredibly underrated, but like he's a slight step down from Mitchell Robinson. And then you have like Shemi Ojeleye and Aaron Nesmith. It's like There's no pieces there that the Knicks would want.
We talked about it yesterday. Fred dropped 54 fucking points.
Did you see DeMar DeRozan like clap at Lowry?
Yeah, he was joking. He's like, I told you, you could have did it. I was telling Lowry his bum ass should have did it forever.
So funny. But
I'm happy Toronto got that ring, but I do feel bad for DeRozan because that was his team. He clearly still loved that city and team and everything. It sucks.
Yeah, that bums me out. But especially because Kawhi was just like a year and out.
But that's what they get. That's what they get for doing that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they got their chip, but they would have still had DeRozan. You know what I mean? Like their team is unbearable to watch when Fred or Lowry isn't going off because Siakam isn't doing anything, and their bench is trash now.
Yeah, Siakam
they lost Serge, so it's like, what are you doing?
It's like, I'd say the most exciting player. Like I love Fred. He went to Wichita State. I grew up like a couple blocks away from Wichita State, and he was a big deal. But I think OG Anunoby is maybe the most exciting player on that team right now. And then my Celtics have been inconsistent, but we've also had like weird health things. Tatum was out for like 6 or 7 games with COVID, and then Kemba started the season hurt. But we barely beat the Warriors by 4 last night. But
I'm surprised Hayward is doing as good as he is on Charlotte.
Yeah, I thought
he was done, to be honest.
Yeah, I think. Well, it's amazing.
Jumping the gun, but
no, it's like, oh, that's nice. When he's healthy, he plays really well. That's something we never knew. But I think he also just wanted to be a more featured piece on the offensive side, and that wasn't going to happen with Tatum.
Brown's ascension. It was over for him. The writing was on the wall.
Yeah, and like Brown has been phenomenal this year. I think he's averaging like 26 or 28 and like 5 and 4 or something. He's been our most consistent player by far. But do you like Tibbs so far as the coach in New York?
I've loved Tibbs. Like, I'm a Knicks fan through and through, but secretly, like deep down in my heart, I love the Bulls as well, even though we're in the same conference. There's like certain teams I have a weak spot for. The Lakers has never been that. I like Denver because I liked Melo for a long time, so I like Denver for a while. And I feel like all of Denver's team right now are Knicks supposed picks like that have ended up in Denver. So realistically, I feel like all of Denver's team is just Knicks picks we've given away for nothing.
Yeah. I like in most sports, I generally have like my team, and then I have the team in the opposite conference that I like. And it's like in the NBA, I've always been a Celtics guy because Kansas, there was no basketball, but Paul Pierce was on the Celtics and he went to Kansas. And I was like, that's my tie. That's who I'm going to link on to. And then my Western Conference team was the Sonics. And then Sonics disappeared. And I didn't really care as much when they were the Thunder, even though I was like a few hours away from going to their games. I was like, man, I miss the Sonics.
NFL, it's the Chiefs and Rams, right?
No, for a long time it was the Chiefs and the Eagles because I love Donovan McNabb.
That's fair.
I really liked him, Brian Westbrook, and Brian Dawkins. I really liked that trio.
Brian Dawkins was so good.
Yeah. NFL for me was Giants, Chargers. Those are my 2 teams.
Growing up, I was Rams Titans. Funny enough, I liked the Jeff Fisher Titans, and then he became my coach. I mean, nowadays I kind of end up rooting. I have no horse in the AFC race, so I end up rooting for whoever the Bills are, or the Bills, the Chiefs, not in any particular order, and the Jets. The Jets have to take precedence because my mother,
of course,
the Long Island proud. Then probably Chiefs, Bills. Which is hard because even my mom, like in the playoffs, she's like, I want my conference, or I want my division to win. When it came down to the Bills and the Chiefs, she's like, I'm rooting for the Bills. I want the division to win.
I think most people were rooting for the Bills who weren't Chiefs fans. I feel like
I think people are just tired of teams going back to the Super Bowl after like the Patriots did it for so long.
maybe and
history-wise, I wanted the Chiefs to win because I want that ascension of why am I drawing a blank right now? Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Just to eclipse Tom Brady's I hated all the kids in high school that every time Tom Brady would win, there would just be more and more Patriots fans out of nowhere, and I just hated them. I was like,
the bandwagoners.
Yeah. See, so with me in the conference championship games, like I wasn't counting the Bills out. I wasn't trying to look past them, but I was like, if the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl again, I'm fine with either the Packers or the Bucks, because the Bucks, I want to end Brady's career. That's what I want to do. But if we end up going against the Packers, we can get revenge for Super Bowl I, where they beat us. I was fine either way. I hold grudges.
I hope you don't expect to win next year, because the Rams with Matthew Stafford, they want to play at home next year.
We'll see how that goes.
Tom Brady.
I think you can see a lot of my guy Patrick
Ross next year.
Super Bowls.
If the Rams and Chiefs go to the Super Bowl, we're going to the Super Bowl, right? Let's do it. Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they both make it, we're going to the Super Bowl.
But
it'll be in LA. It's going to be nice.
I just know if the Bills did win, what that would have meant to Buffalo, and it was hard to root against that. I was like,
yeah, but they have a team that's going to come back next year. I'm sorry I derailed you guys talking basketball. I apologize for that.
Oh no, that's fine.
But,
that's fine.
That's a team that's built to come back, though. Like Josh Allen, I was saying since they drafted him, everybody was like, why would they take Josh Allen? That's such a reach. I was saying since they drafted him, they got the better Josh. He's way better than what's his face? Josh
Tyrod Taylor?
No, Josh.
Josh Rosen?
Yeah, that one. Josh out of the league Rosen. Yeah, Josh Allen was always the right, because you can't teach arm strength, but you can teach technique. And
unless you're Jamarcus Russell.
Well, yeah, but that you can't also teach, being a healthy weight. That's a whole other
Glenn Big Baby Davis.
Remember that guy, the Giants backup quarterback who was huge? He played in the Arena Football League at like 300 pounds.
My guy was cooking.
Nat knows.
But besides Boston fans, who are the worst in the world, I hate Boston sports fans. Bills fans are not great. Sure, they're Boston the chippy underdog.
And Los Angeles fans tend to be terrible.
Yeah, like they're
all
the chippy
sports
underdog.
Fans are terrible.
But
no, specifically, like Boston specifically has this like dynasty. Our teams are the best, and the Red Sox fucking suck. But and I'm not even a Yankees fan, so I have no beef with
one
the
more recent than the Yankees, unfortunately.
Yeah, the Yankees are closer to winning again, though.
True. Well, let's see what the Red Sox do.
Now let's see what the Mets do, baby.
Yeah, okay. Says only Nat and my grandfather.
Nah, bro. We got the billionaire, man, so we gonna be rocking out here. I'm telling you, once the season starts, it's over.
The Yankees just fixed their pitching. If this pitching rotation
works, don't matter.
They're going all the way to the World
money
Series.
Fixes everything.
And you're telling me the Yankees don't have money?
They don't got those billies.
They got Steinbrenner money. That man
lived
in the luxury tax.
Hedge fund, fucking Steve Cohen money.
The hedge funds are losing all their money in GameStop on the short sells. Okay.
Cohen only lost 7%.
7% of what? That's a huge number.
7% of like fucking $14 billion.
That's a huge amount of money.
Yes, but not when you got Billies.
So what I was saying about the Bills fans was that they're bad.
His worth. It was of that company's worth.
Leading up to the AFC Championship game, my mother-in-law was talking such mad trash on Facebook. She was like commenting, and I was just like, we'll have to see what happens. And then I hit her with the hashtag wide right. She didn't like that. She didn't like that because that's Bills lost 4 consecutive Super Bowls in the 90s. And wide right was they missed a lot of field goals.
Yep.
felt good. Anyway, let's circle back to the last couple stuff, video game stuff.
Well, let's circle back to another group not really getting it done. Google Stadia's development in-house has all been canceled. If you remember, Google famously, when they announced the streaming service, said that they had names such as Jade Raymond attached to internal studios developing games in-house, which apparently would later be described as Amazon, like developing for Amazon, but with way less funding. And Amazon is going through its own issues of people not liking working there. Amazon doesn't know how to make a game, and Google was apparently no better, but threw less money at it. So Google has since, as mentioned, they have closed both of its game studios located in Montreal and Los Angeles. And it will impact around 150 developers. But one source, this is from a Kotaku article, one source did state that the company will try to find those developers new roles at Google. So Google is trying to find these developers jobs within the company. So they're not just, they're not just giving them the pink slip and kicking them out the door. I have seen a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of developers like Bungie and them being like, hey, we've got openings, like Sony Santa Monica always does that.
Sidebar. Google has a reputation of everything aside from Android. Underfunding. Literally everything. I guess it makes sense when your fucking company's called Alphabet and you have something for every letter under the sun.
I'll tell you what they're not underfunding is their cloud business, though, because they just lost like $7 billion on it because they're aggressively acquiring cloud businesses and like personnel. Like they had I think it was like some crazy number, like 13 billion in revenue, and they lost 7 billion.
Yeah.
Like Google is investing heavily in cloud, which is important to Stadia because it sounds like they're shifting the focus away from being a consumer facing product, which this was one of the early, don't buy into Stadia things. And I don't think this isn't a viable thing for them to do, but they're shifting away from being a consumer product to being more of a service to the publishers rather than to the consumers. So Google is still offering Stadia. They're still bringing games to Stadia. They're going to continue running Stadia as they have right now. They're just not going to make any exclusive games. There's not going to be Stadia game studios or anything like that. But they're going to also be able to bring Stadia to somebody like EA, to somebody like Activision, and be like, hey, what if people could stream your games to their mobile phones on our cloud infrastructure? And then, we're not making games. That might help them in a crazy way of Amazon's out there trying to make games. They're trying to compete with you. The only horse in this race is the cloud. We just want to help, so that might help them get some deals. I'm not saying that that's how that's going to go, but that would be how I would try and pitch it, of just be like, hey, you know what? Google's not interested in competing with you. Google wants to be your partner. And let's get your games in the cloud. That would be my strategy. If Stadia, my strategy would also be not charging people to buy games. It would be turning Stadia into a true service and not a platform. But I digress. Yeah. That sounds like the future for Stadia is pitching it to publishers and being like, hey, what if all of your games ran in the cloud? We can do that. And then maybe Stadia has a small team of developers that just helps port the games to Linux. Or maybe Stadia changes the way they do their stuff and maybe they don't run it on Linux anymore. That's one of their biggest issues compared to Amazon, because I think Amazon is running everything in Windows. They're just running virtual machines. And so to run a game on Stadia, you have to port your game to Linux. Gotcha. Which is an issue for some developers. Yeah, so some developers, if they don't want to put in that work, their game's not going to come. And that's the other thing, is I'm surprised they haven't released more Linux versions of games since they're already doing the work on Steam.
There must be some reason why they're not.
Well, because a lot of the developers who are making games for Stadia are also just making games for the Epic Games Store, like Ubisoft. and Epic Game Store doesn't support Linux.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So
it'll be interesting to see where Stadia goes. It kind of launched with a wet fart, and it's kind of seemingly maintained that. Thank you.
So yes and no. The experience of buying games again on Stadia will never be good. The idea of spending money to buy a game just to play in the cloud will never feel completely good to me when I can run it better locally. But there was the perfect example, Cyberpunk. When Cyberpunk was, seemingly falling to pieces at launch, all I ever saw was this game runs really well on Stadia. When every other platform felt like it had bugs and issues and all these things going on, there's all these people on Twitter like, yo, like this game just works on Stadia. Like this is the first game that that bought me into Stadia. That's Stadia got a lot of new customers from Cyberpunk.
Yeah, and I think mostly in terms of the wet fart was that's the first time I had heard anything about Stadia in the headlines since its launch.
Yeah.
No one's really talking about it.
The service itself is good. The quality of the streaming is great. Like I played Destiny in 4K on this TV with this controller, and it works, You can, you can get Stadia Pro and you can play that, Panzer Dragoon game, the remake. You can play that right now on Stadia Pro, So there is a way to make Stadia kind of be that service. The problem is that the best games that you would want to play, like Cyberpunk, you have to buy. This controller is so dusty. You can tell I don't play Stadia a lot. I actually did buy a game on Stadia towards the end of last year. I bought Ghost Recon Breakpoint because I got it for $5, I think. Or $10 or something. I don't know. But I really want to try it. Because that game has the cool thing where you can see what other players see. It'll do a picture-in-picture thing. So you could be looking at something, Ross, and be like, hey, do you see this? And then I could pull up your screen and see what it is in real time.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is a cool thing. And they have the new save states and stuff like that when Hitman came out. So you can make a save state and just send it to your buddy hey, get yourself out of this situation. Let's see how you do it, kind of thing. Stadia has a lot of really good ideas, and it just needs to be a more attractive place to play games. And the idea of paying full price for a stream-only game ain't it.
Agreed.
The last bit of news relevant to what we were talking about before with Borderlands, Gearbox has been purchased. I don't know if either of you have heard this.
By whom?
Last night, 1 a.m. was when this was reported. It was purchased by Embracer Group, who is the same Swedish company that owns THQ Nordic and Koch Media. So they own Deep Silver, obviously THQ Nordic.
I feel like Gearbox fits in there.
Yeah.
Among those.
So Gearbox was purchased for so this is all again a Kotaku article here. Gearbox is now the 7th video game holding that they have purchased, including the likes of Saber Interactive and DECA. I don't know who that is off the top of my head.
No, me neither.
But they plan to expand Gearbox's operations, adding new studios and staff, and create new brands. And they're going to continue to look for more properties, such as Homeworld, when Gearbox bought them a couple years ago. There's a statement if you guys want it. This is from Randy Pitchford, who will remain... that's what I was waiting for, that eye roll. Randy Pitchford will remain in charge of Gearbox.
I'm sure that's for the best.
And he was talking to Embracer CEO, or mentioning Embracer CEO. Lars's vision of Embracer as an allied partner group committed to fueling and accelerating ambitions of a series of decentralized, successful entrepreneurial companies while magnifying the collective value and advantages of diversification across the entire group is the most brilliant strategy and design for short, medium, and long-term success in this industry that I have ever encountered in my 30 years in this industry. I have not read that out loud until just now. That is the longest sentence I've ever read in my life.
What a corporate speech
Yep.
talk that was. Holy
the feeling
God.
at Gearbox is that we are just getting started, and this transaction is not merely a stimulant for the talent of our company or of our employee-owned company, but a propellant for the exciting future we have planned.
That statement is a repellent for me. My God.
Sidebar: DECA makes a whole bunch of Facebook games and Realm of the Mad God, if you guys know what that is.
I do know what Realm of the Mad God is.
That's their most popular game.
Thank you.
And then a bunch of Facebook games.
Yo, Nat with that research. Appreciate it.
Crime City.
I've heard of Crime City.
So the question is, what this
just like you're a thief and now you're right. You ever see those shitty ads? I wish I could find it, but I don't know how you search it. I guess I could search Crime City, but Crime City ads. But
so the question that this brings up for me is like this purchase literally happened like a day after they shut down Battleborn forever. This always brings back, whenever you talk about Gearbox and in a situation like this, you bring up their older properties like Brothers in Arms. You talk about the fact that they have Aliens. They had the Aliens license. They had Duke Nukem. They own Duke Nukem still. And do they do anything with that?
They shouldn't.
So here's the total. This is the part that surprised me. So the initial purchase price was only $363 million. It was half in cash and half in Embracer shares, with a further $1 billion, which sounds more like a Gearbox purchase amount in my mind, to be paid. $360 million in shares and the rest in cash if Gearbox are able to hit agreed financial and operation targets in the next 6 years. Excuse me. Now,
interesting.
$1 billion carrot hanging in front of their head.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so 2K today clarified their continued relationship with Gearbox. As the proud publisher of the Borderlands franchise, we are happy for our partners at Gearbox in this exciting new chapter for their organization. The merger does not change 2K's relationship with Gearbox, nor our role as the publisher for the Borderlands IP or any other projects we are currently working on with the studio. We look forward to continuing our long-term partnership in this incredibly talented team. With this incredibly talented team, and delivering many more exciting experiences to gaming fans around the world. Now, here is a more cynical view of this. Embracer. So there was a rumor. I had a piece that I was thinking about writing, and I've kind of scrapped it up to now. Ross is familiar with it. There was a rumor the other day that from a known leaker who had leaked the Bethesda purchase from Microsoft like 2 months before it happened. Same leaker saying that Microsoft was planning to do another Bethesda caliber acquisition either by the end of this year or early next year. And I basically was going to write a piece of like how consolidation is bad for the industry. Here's another major acquisition. And to me, this is probably something where Gearbox had probably been trying to sell to someone for a while. Embracer has always been quick to buy. Embracer is a buyer. There's no question. Do you think the Bethesda acquisition is swaying some of these companies like, 2K when they decided they wanted to buy Codemasters and then, EA coming in and being like, no, we want Codemasters and outbidding them for that. With rumors of Tencent trying to get in and purchase a major, Western publisher and things like that. With all these rumors swirling and with the knowledge that Microsoft is still going through the process of acquiring ZeniMax, do you think that some of these publishers are trying to bolster their size to try and become a little too big to be targeted? Like, does Embracer Group offer them $1 billion, because to me, it sounds like the $1 billion wasn't really part of the deal, but it was like, hey, if you do this stuff, we'll give you the $1 billion. Okay. Like that sounded like what they needed to do to seal the deal. Like, it's a performance kicker in an NFL contract or in any contract in sports. If you get X amount of, stats, we're going to pay you more money, And so I feel like it's the same thing here. Do you think an Embracer Group is trying to get a little too big, where Microsoft looks at them and kind of looks at that portfolio value and is like, maybe we don't want to spend that much again, you know? Maybe we don't want to pursue them. Or now Gearbox is off the table and it's like, okay, you know, maybe we don't want to get involved in that
don't
now.
think that's the conversation with Tencent for sure. With Microsoft, I feel like Microsoft, when they decide they want to buy something, they have the money to buy pretty much whatever they want, with the exception of a company equal to their size like Google, Amazon, Apple. Microsoft could pretty much buy who they want.
I'm not doubting
You know
their
what I mean?
resources and their capacity to do it, but I'm wondering if they look at an Embracer Group and now they look at that potential 1.3 billion addition. And now, you know, say Embracer's worth 7 billion now. I'm just throwing a number out there. I have no clue their total value. Does Microsoft look at that and be like, do we want to spend another 7 billion to acquire those IP and those developers?
I mean, I think they're constantly weighing that. I think they're looking at the portfolio, previous performances on those games, and just seeing if it makes sense financially to do that. If I were Microsoft in this specific situation, would absolutely not try to acquire Embracer Group. They have some good games, but no real, outside of Borderlands, no real kind of high sales numbers.
For what it's worth, I'm pretty sure Borderlands is owned, the IP I believe is
By
owned
2K.
by 2K. Yeah. And Gearbox has some say and probably has some royalty deal in place for anything, because Gearbox did not make the pre-sequel, remember?
Right.
So
right.
2K has control of that property.
Yeah, which further lessens the value of Gearbox.
I was going to say sidebar. I feel like, if anything, if Microsoft was looking at Gearbox, like, yeah, we want to buy Gearbox. If anything, adding whatever the fuck the company is called is
Embracer Group.
Embracer is. Who else do they own? You said, they said THQ.
So they own THQ Nordic, and they own Cook
And
Media, who owns like Deep Silver.
Yeah,
and then Deca.
And Deca.
I don't know.
And,
I just
Saber
don't feel like
Interactive.
that's the big enough like pull. Like, yeah, all of those together are really cool. Like they have some good games, but I feel like Microsoft is looking to buy something, like they're more looking to buy like the legacy brand, like something with games that still mean something to people.
Like them buying 2K games.
Like them buying 2K or them buying Sega or something, like the rumored like stuff. Like those are the.
Yeah, they're constantly doing the like cost benefit analyses to everything, just like Sony is. Like the reports came out, Sony was trying to shop and buy up Bethesda and ZeniMax. They were in talks about a deal beforehand, before Microsoft
but Sony,
went through.
The difference is Sony can't throw around the money Microsoft can, and
they can't. But they were in the talks for ZeniMax.
They have to, and they have to be though, because if there's an opportunity to buy, then yeah, you have to pursue it. If ZeniMax is calling up Sony and they're like, hey, you know, or if there's a conversation of like, hey, we're looking to be acquired, who the hell at Sony isn't going to be like, so what are you looking for? You know?
Yeah.
That's a failure on their part if they don't even entertain the conversation.
The thing that kills me with all this consolidation is like, and someone like a Gearbox, not as big a deal. It's when you get into these larger publishers like the ZeniMax and stuff like that, with the rumors of the Segas, of the EAs, you know, things like that, is like consolidation at a certain point, is one thing. Consolidation isn't as bad in terms of third party, I think, as long as management doesn't interfere with a good thing. Like, as long as EA doesn't reach out and tell Codemasters like, hey, people really like loot boxes. So what if we put the cars in a box, you know, and just random colored cars? What if this Dodge Viper was purple? You know? You can't, you know, as long as they keep their hands off and just let, you know, someone like Codemasters do, then Codemasters can keep making games for all these platforms. But then you've got a ZeniMax. And, you know, ZeniMax is worth $7.5 billion to Microsoft in terms of what they're doing right now. Is ZeniMax worth $7.5 billion as an exclusive, you know, as a platform exclusive or as a Game Pass edition, you know? And the thing is when you start kind of restricting when you start restricting these things, and it's a different scenario again, and I'm not trying to. It makes sense when someone like, when Epic sells Gears of War to Microsoft, because that's a synonymous brand, it makes sense when an Insomniac decides, hey, if we're going to be acquired, it's going to be by Sony because they own the IP that we have historically been successful with, that we have built up, and we would rather be a part of that IP than not, in the terms of like a Ratchet and Clank or something like that, or to be able to work on a Spider-Man. Even Spider-Man, I'm increasingly iffy on that being a first-party game, because it
feels a little weird.
Everybody should be able to play Spider-Man. And I feel like Sony kind of benefits if everybody can play Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And, at least Microsoft has the neutral ground of PC. And I think if Sony were better about PC, or if Nintendo would even think about it, that would be something, Nintendo's walled garden, at least, is all in-house. They don't usually go out there, and they're not paying people money to be like, yo, put your next fucking map pack on our platform first, That's
They've
not the
generally
deals
had to beg
Nintendo
third
is
parties to come to their consoles over the past couple generations.
Yeah. So, like, I just worry. I don't want this to be a scenario where it's like Microsoft owns 40% of the industry, and then, all of a sudden, Sony can't make a game like they make because it's just not profitable anymore in a world where Game Pass exists. I don't want a scenario where, EA, poor EA, has to put all their Need for Speed games on Game Pass so they can actually, reach an audience instead of, because nobody's going to buy it for $70 if they can just get it on Game Pass, And, when you're consolidating, you're kind of forcing the industry. Like, that's my fear, is with consolidation, you're forcing the industry into kind of 2.5 camps. You're Microsoft, you're Sony, you're kind of PC. Nintendo is kind of separate from this because Nintendo's always going to do what they do. And the day they decide, if they ever decide they don't want to be in the hardware business anymore, Nintendo is going to be maybe the biggest publisher in the world. If they ever decided, like, hey, you know what, we're just going to make games for the other platforms, and we're just going to make the craziest. Imagine Super Mario Odyssey that looks as good as that, has the same art style, but now has the frame rate and fidelity to match, but still captures the essence of that game, because Nintendo's not going to give that up. That's kind of a dream scenario. It's like, imagine playing, Breath of the Wild on a PlayStation. Imagine playing Metroid Prime on an Xbox, with all that horsepower. But like,
I think it's definitely like, it's a scenario that used to feel very extreme that is becoming less and less extreme as time goes on. But it'll be interesting to see, again, like we were talking about Spider-Man, like, you can only play it on PlayStation right now. It'll be interesting to see, especially with ZeniMax and Bethesda and like with Starfield and Elder Scrolls, like what's the price of keeping that exclusive to Xbox and PC, and how much revenue are you losing out on by not releasing it on PlayStation? Like, it might be on a game by game basis in terms of what they want to be exclusive and what they're going to release multi-plat, or if they do at all. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think for me, the consolidation, I think it is worrying a little bit. And when we've seen, like, on a smaller scale, publishers acquire studios, like we saw what BioWare has become since they've been acquired by EA. Like, it's misstep after misstep.
Well,
and like
in recent times, let's be real. Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3 were both developed under EA, and those are largely, that whole trilogy is largely considered exceptional. That is, as far as I'm concerned, that's still peak BioWare.
Yeah.
And maybe things have changed since then. I just don't want to. I don't want to completely throw them under the bus because they released, in my opinion, the best trilogy of games ever made, and I still hold firm to that to this day.
Yeah, and then more recently, it's been Andromeda and Anthem.
Right.
So it's like, how much of that is BioWare, how much is EA? We don't know. But like, part of me feels like giving the benefit of the doubt to companies like Microsoft acquiring these studios until it's very clear that they're interfering with the development of the games themselves.
My only issue is and always will be Game Pass. And maybe it's just a me thing because I'm not as sold on Game Pass as everybody else is. I have Game Pass, but like, at least on the PC end, Game Pass is not always the best way to play. I had to buy Halo on Steam, the Master Chief Collection, because it just would not work properly on Game Pass. I had to buy Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition on Steam because it just did not work right on Game Pass, you know? And to play these games with my friends, I had to buy these games because Game Pass just wasn't ready. And like, I just hate this scenario where Microsoft is really the only, Microsoft is benefiting double because they own Windows. And I'm not trying to make this a thing, but like, let's be real. That's how they're competing with Sony. Is it's not on the Xbox front. It is right now. It's a new generation, so everything's square one. But last generation, their competition, the way they kept up with everybody else, was PC. They have a two-pronged attack that nobody else can match. And the problem is if the industry gets consolidated into that two-pronged attack and Microsoft starts getting control, they already own Minecraft. They now own ZeniMax. They still own, everything they have in-house, and it's up to them to fix their in-house development. I'm also a little concerned that they're just trying to buy everything to mask the fact that they maybe don't have the in-house development that they should. And maybe this is a sign that Microsoft's going to get out of making games themselves and they're just going to buy people to do it for them, Why should Microsoft have 343 Industries if Halo, isn't what it is when you can get somebody else to make Halo, Or you can get somebody else to make Gears of War if that ends up going in a different direction. It's their course of business. I just worry because consolidation is a very dangerous game, and something always gives when you consolidate. Two conflicting ideologies because, they're usually competing and something has to give somewhere, right? They can't both come in and just, you're never going to have full autonomy as much as you want because you're going to have to answer to someone for something. There's always someone above you. And I don't know. I just worry. I'm being paranoid. I realize this is me being paranoid, and I probably sound crazy just trying to be like Game Pass is the end of the world. It's not. But I do worry about the AAA game. The more and more I see Game Pass grow, the more I get concerned about the AAA game. In terms of like, what does that look like in 5 years? What does that look like in 10 years? Do we have AAA games in 10 years? Those are the games I love. Those are the experiences I want to have. The Last of Us, the Dead Spaces of the world, stuff like that. Do those exist in a world where everything's on Game Pass?
I mean, I don't know, and time will tell, but I think I saw a story that the Medium already made back all of its development budget, like within the first day or two. And it's not necessarily the most AAA of AAA game, but it's up there in terms of kind of very close to AAA.
Yeah.
But no, I totally get what you're saying, and I think it's something that we're going to be.
To answer. Oh, so I thought you were done. My bad.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, to answer Chris's question, I would say yes, because I do feel like more companies. It's not gonna just go with that. More companies are gonna diversify, and I think Game Pass isn't Xbox's way of competing with PlayStation as it is Xbox planting their seeds to compete with Amazon and Google once they figure out how they want to operate their business. And I do think,
well, it's Amazon now.
I do think places are going to be like, hey, we have this game ranging from indie to AAA, and the AAA games are going to they're going to find where they can get their best price. If everything turns subscription based, that's how the model is going to operate. It's going to be like TV shows, and it's going to be like, hey, HBO Max paid us the most money, so we're on HBO Max, and that's the subscription we're with or whatever. And most times you will still be able to buy the game, like you can buy these movies, but it would be like an exclusive time period or something, some sort of thing like that.
Yeah,
I mean, how it would operate if everybody went to that model.
Yeah, because we've seen the TV industry do it. We've seen the music industry do it.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be monolithic in the way where it's just Xbox. I feel like Xbox is acquiring as much as they can and prepping for this turn.
Yeah, because even with TV and music, like there's still different platforms. It's not like Apple and iTunes completely cannibalized everything, even though they were huge. I think there's still space for other competitors. I think the scenario that you're describing, I think, is kind of a doomsday scenario where Microsoft just ends up buying everything.
I'm not trying to say that they're going to buy everything. It's just like, see, video games to me are just too different from like a TV series or out. Like, there's no like, yeah, you have like your indie bands, your underground stuff like that, but like, you know, you don't have the budgets in a lot of those that you do have for a modern video game. Modern video games like a Last of Us probably costs more than Avengers did to make, you know, or close to it at this point. You know, maybe not in terms of marketing, but I'm talking production. They're in the hundreds of millions now.
I mean, they're cool.
I mean, let me.
I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't think so, actually. I would think video games are getting closer, but those movies.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's between 60 and 80 million right now.
Yeah. I'm saying those movies are paying.
Okay, so what it costs Robert Downey Jr. to be in the movie.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Those movies are paying a premium for talent. And I feel like they can make those quality for less money. But I feel like with video games, the beauty of it is it's this world that in most cases, you can separate the talent from the art form. Whereas in a movie, it's a one-to-one. Yeah, you might be able to suspend disbelief for a while, but that's still Denzel on the screen. That's still Robert Downey Jr. on the screen. That's still whatever actor you enjoy in most cases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's where video games, I feel like it's like, this is the world I'm living in for now. And great video games do a good job of making you believe that this is the world you're in.
Okay, so yeah, for what it's worth, maybe Endgame wasn't the right thing, but apparently, according to estimates, Last of Us Part 2 cost $100 million to make.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to like throw what you were saying out of the window. I was just saying like, Endgame costs a lot of fucking money.
Endgame did cost a lot of money, but a lot of that was also advertising. That wasn't all production cost of the film.
No, I mean, yeah.
But still, you know, in a scenario, what I'm saying is in a scenario where, you know, if Microsoft has all these games coming out, you know, if Starfield's on Game Pass, Elder Scrolls is on Game Pass, all these games are on Game Pass, is Sony going to spend the $100 million to make The Last of Us Part 2?
I do think so, because it's the same way. You need the loss leader. You need the big games to draw the audience in.
$100 million cannot be a loss leader. You cannot.
I mean,
produce how much on $100 million.
This is not apples to oranges. Like, this is a different situation. But look how much. Well, this is actually a bad comparison. But like the same theory is going like signing a Joe Rogan to Spotify with how much they paid him. It's the same theory with like Peacock reacquiring whatever shows and like The Office moving around, because they know that group, that audience wants that. So if that game has an audience, which I feel like The Last of Us does and Naughty Dog does, they're going to get whatever they ask for because they know they bring that audience. And that's how it's going to go. And that's why I feel like games that won't end up in a subscription model will be games as a service. So something like Destiny or something won't end up in
Destiny is in Game Pass.
I mean, I'm saying in most forms, you know what I mean? Like, yes, it ends up in Game Pass, but it's not like it's in Game Pass, but it's not like the latest, whatever the latest patches or whatever.
It is. No, it has up through Beyond Light on right now on Xbox. You can play the latest expansion of Destiny 2 on Game Pass.
Well, I guess I don't know because I don't partake in games and services thing as much.
That's fair.
But I would say like GTA Online. People still play GTA Online. That's like they incentivize putting it there for. So like you make it as cheap as possible to get in. They incentivize people by putting it there, so they make the money on the back end with DLC and stuff. I see games that live off of stuff like that, but something where they're installing installment packs, I don't think end up on a situation like Game Pass, just because I don't see how it's beneficial to them if they're going to keep the player base. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and it comes down to the fact too that by all accounts, developers are making money from Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
So Game Pass is not bad for anybody right now. And I'm not, again, I just want to clarify, I'm not trying, I know I sound very doom and gloom on the whole situation. Like, my personal gaming habits don't add up with Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
But that also comes down to just, platform preferences, because like, I don't have an Xbox right now. If I did, I'd probably play a lot more games on it because I have Game Pass. But just I wanted Demon's Souls, I wanted Spider-Man, those were the games, and that's why I got the box I got. That's why I get PC, because I want to play certain games and I want to play them certain ways. I was
gonna say I don't, so like, it's not that I disagree with what you're saying, it's I just think you're looking at it upside down. I think the problem is games will end up being in that bigger bust. You know what I mean? I feel like you kind of squeeze out the mid-tier games because it's going to be small indie games that are going to get bundled in, and then there's going to be no room for that mid-tier game. It's going to be
need the B games.
That's what I'm trying to say. I feel like those games are going to get squeezed out, or the indie games are going to get squeezed out.
Nat, you're killing Greedfall right now with your words. You're killing Greedfall with your words.
Greedfall is on Game Pass.
I know.
I think I'm not sure it'll kill AAA games. I mean, we saw the best-selling games of last year, and The Last of Us Part 2 sold over 4 million copies, and Ghost of Tsushima wasn't far behind. I think
and Animal Crossing sold 30 million, I think it was.
Yeah,
some crazy number.
If anything,
I know it's nothing that's happening right now, and I acknowledge that.
Yeah, I just the last thing I'll say is I think in your mind you're taking it to an extreme that I'm not sure it'll get to. It's definitely a possibility, but I think the industry would adapt before basically Microsoft would monopolize the industry, basically.
Yeah. I just look at Netflix, and Netflix is like, we've got a new movie every week, but how many of those movies really matter, and it's like, and that's the thing, is Game Pass right now is kind of the Netflix of video games, as it were, and so it's like, I just worry that at a certain point Game Pass kind of trivializes things, where it's like, why make a big AAA game? Like I've said before, why make Halo Infinite when you can make a bunch of really small Halo games and you can make them kind of work together? But now, instead of being like a big 20 or 30 hour campaign, what if it's like 5-6 hour campaigns? Or that would probably be
like Halo 5.
That would actually be an improvement for Halo. So maybe that's not the best analogy, but what if it's like 5 2 to 3 hour campaigns?
Because I think the audience will be there. Because I think the audience will always be there for that, and I think they'll show up for it.
Unless the mindset on spending 60 to, I guess, 70 now on a game changes drastically, I would say it would be hard for me to go to Ross's game studio and be like, hey, let me put your game on here where you're going to make a lower profit margin. I feel like for AAA games, for them to end up on Game Pass, that's like, hey, this game is great. Unless you're owned by Microsoft, you're going to end up like you get bought. Like, you buy these games, and then later on in your life, you end up on a Game Pass or something for a while so people can experience it. And it'd be ended up in a situation where it's like, oh, I'm about to put Nat's Wild World Adventure 2 out. Let me put Nat's Wild
the sequel
World
to Adventure my favorite
1.
game of 2018.
Yeah, Wild World Adventure 1 on Game Pass and all these other stuff. So people can experience it for 3 months before, or whatever their period is, before I put 2 out. So now I put 2 out, and now they're able to get it. You know what I mean? I just feel like Microsoft is in their infancy with this, and the way they should be utilizing it is more of it that way. I feel like PlayStation Plus does that really well. Like, whenever they're about to put out a sequel, the prequel to it will end up on PlayStation Plus a lot of times.
No, you're right. My real concern, and like there's no way to dance around it. Microsoft is the most powerful company in the game industry without question. They own 2 of the largest platforms. They're the only $1 trillion company in the whole industry. And realistically, if Microsoft wanted to, they could probably own video games. You know, if they really just decided one day we're just going to buy all the video games. You know, and that's just kind of my concern is like Sony can't compete with that. Nintendo can't compete with that. EA, Activision, none of these other publishers are big enough to compete with what Microsoft as an entire entity. We're not just talking Xbox here. We're talking Microsoft as an entity, what they are capable of doing, you know, in terms of like, just throwing money out.
That's direct for Sony because Sony is actively trying to compete with Microsoft. For Nintendo, I don't feel like Nintendo is trying to compete with anybody. I think Nintendo plays in their
Nintendo's in their own world.
Bring
they're
their own
loving
ball
it
to the court. They just do what Nintendo wants.
Yeah, because with Nintendo platforms, you buy Nintendo platforms for the first party games. Microsoft can't buy those. Nintendo's always going to be its own thing unless they get a deal, unless they get an offer to be bought by someone, and it's just too good to pass up.
Yeah,
and I was just saying, most times with Nintendo, devs will make their game shittier to be on Nintendo platforms. Like they want to be on that platform because that's their childhood, or they grew up. There's a nostalgia to being on a Nintendo platform. You know,
I don't like how you said they make their game shittier to be on that platform.
No, but I mean, like realistically, you have to like the Switch is not.
There are concessions to be made.
But like, if you look back in the day, if you look at any like sports game, for example, the GameCube ones tended to be shittier. Like they the
GameCube ones tended to perform a little better. Usually, it was the PS2 that was underpowered by comparison. GameCube was a lot closer to Xbox than PS2 was.
But you know, I just feel like you say
yeah. No, I was just gonna say, I think it'll be interesting to watch moving forward. I think just because a company can do something, it doesn't mean necessarily they will do something. And I think that both those within the industry and those outside of the industry would start throwing up their hands in the air a little bit if Microsoft would go too overboard with a ton of purchases.
If
I'm not trying to accuse Microsoft of anything,
and Rockstar and everything, then you have to then you have a legitimate case, and we revisit this topic.
Yeah, I'm not trying to accuse Microsoft of anything. It's just something that lingers in the back of my mind when I look at when I look at Game Pass and when I look at like their current strategy and like just how they're making games, and you know. Their strategy doesn't always align. Again, it's a personal thing because it doesn't align with the way that I like to play games, you know? Because I feel like a lot of their games have been like, you know, shorter experiences, like, you know, for their first party stuff or for like their in-house stuff. Like, you know, it's the occasional Sea of Thieves, you know, it's a big open world, but it's kind of light on content, you know, but it's on Game Pass. So you don't have to buy it. It's on Game Pass. Why wouldn't you play it? You know, it's more like value. It's more valuable to the service than it is as a standalone product in some cases with some of the games.
I would say two things.
That's my concern.
Two things I would say. One is the direct response. That's one has nothing to do with anything we were just talking about. The Sea of Thieves things, I would say that community would get very mad at you now because apparently
Sea of Thieves has turned around a bit.
Content. And I do not like the way that Game Pass has just become a bailout for somebody putting out a bad product. They're like, oh, it's bad. Let's let it live on Game Pass for a while until they get their shit together. I don't like that, but I do like that Sea of Thieves was turned around. Other thing is I am getting kind of dizzy. I don't know why. So
no, we can wrap. Yeah, we can. I'm good on this topic. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to do two quick things before we close.
Yeah, no worries.
There's one more piece of news. Very fast. Apex is coming to Switch on March 9th. It'll be updated to the most recent update as all the other platforms, and it'll have cross-platform play.
And they're giving users 30 free Battle Pass levels because it's coming out a month later.
Nice.
Yeah,
and then did you guys go over PlayStation Plus games and Xbox Live Gold games last week?
No, we
for
did not.
February.
All we know is Control and Destruction All Stars.
Yeah, so for PlayStation, it is Control and Destruction All Stars, and then Concrete Genie, which was a very lovable PS4 game that a lot of people liked in VR, but you can play totally out of it. And then for games with gold, Resident Evil Remake is free for the month. Dandara Trials of Fear, which is like a Metroidvania, is free from February 16th to March 15th. Gears 5 is free for the month.
Really?
And then, yep.
Wow.
If you have gold. And then for back compat, original Xbox, Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb, which I've actually heard is good, is free for the first 15 days of February. And for 360, it is Lost Planet 2 for the second half of February, which is less good. But yeah, that is that. So even if you have PlayStation Plus and don't have a PS5, remember you can still add everything to your library, including PS5 games, for you to play whenever you get it.
Add those games. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure, as always. Thank you, everybody, for listening, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on your podcast service of choice. Thank you so much. And we will catch you on the next one. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
See you.